Hey there, sleepyheads. Welcome back to the channel. Before we drift into tonight's tale of the Cartographer of Realities, a story of someone who maps the infinite, shifting multiverse of adventure time, finding forgotten dimensions, distorted timelines, and worlds where the story never ended. I'd love to know where in the world you are watching from tonight. And what time is it for you right now? Drop it in the comments below. It's always magical seeing how far and wide this sleepy little community reaches. All right, lights low, blankets up. Let's begin. Imagine, if you will, a quiet traveler moving gently through the spaces between worlds. Not a hero seeking glory, nor a villain chasing power, but a figure who carries the patience of centuries in their gaze. A kind of calm that seems to slow the air itself. This is the Cartographer, a gentle wanderer whose task is as infinite as it is delicate. Their hands hold maps that are more than paper, and quills that do not merely ink the surface of reality, but trace its very essence, capturing the subtle lines where one possibility bleeds into another. The cartographer does not hurry. There is no need for haste when your work spans countless worlds, each one a quiet pulse of story, memory, and unspoken dreams. The first world the cartographer touches is one that might feel familiar. It is Ooh, but not quite as we know it. The light is softer, a little muted, as if it remembers times that were never quite remembered, moments that shimmer just at the edge of perception. Candy Kingdom rises like a memory half-formed, its streets echoing with the laughter of citizens who exist in this world, but nowhere else. A gentle breeze carries the scent of caramel and the faintest hint of smoke from fires that never fully burned. Here in this quiet version of Ooh, the cartographer takes their first careful steps, allowing the map to guide their eyes to the places most in need of quiet attention. The tools of the cartographer are unlike anything most beings could imagine. Their quill is made from the feather of a bird that exists in multiple dimensions at once, soft and silvery, capable of writing lines that curve and shimmer, depending on which reality they are observed from. Ink flows like liquid starlight, tracing rivers that sometimes appear and disappear, sometimes fold back on themselves. The maps themselves are alive, turning and breathing in the cartographer's hands, stretching into infinite plains that unfold slowly, like soft clouds across the sky. Each fold of a map holds another world, and each world hums with its own subtle frequency. To hold such a map is to feel the heartbeat of infinity itself. The cartographer does not speak much, for words can be too heavy, too abrupt, too rooted in the linear flow of time. Instead, they move with a careful, almost meditative rhythm, stepping from one shadow to the next, observing the subtle changes in light and texture that signal where stories have taken strange turns. A tree leans slightly to the east where, in another timeline, it might have grown to the west. A small pond reflects the sky, but in its surface, constellations shimmer differently, hinting at histories that diverged long before anyone noticed. The cartographer records these small anomalies with delicate precision, as if gathering dreams into a journal before they fade with the morning sun. As the traveler moves, the silence of this world becomes almost tactile, like a soft velvet wrapping around the senses. Even the air seems conscious, breathing in tandem with the cartographer's careful steps. This first world is not dangerous, but it is delicate, and the cartographer knows that the act of noticing is itself a kind of gentle disturbance. By observing, they might ripple events, altering the path of a story that was meant to drift unnoticed into the folds of time. Yet there is no fear here, only reverence. Each shadow, each quiet corner of this world is a memory of what was, what might have been, and what could yet be. And there are whispers, soft and fleeting, like the brush of a silken curtain in an empty room. They are the echoes of possibilities, the size of worlds that exist just beyond comprehension. Some are reminders of endings that never arrived, of conflicts left unresolved, of friendships that continued in ways that no one recorded. The cartographer listens to these whispers with patience, allowing them to guide the quill and expand the maps, capturing the resonance of lives and moments that might otherwise be forgotten. Every mark made on these ethereal sheets is a meditation, a soft acknowledgement of a story that matters even if it was never told. It is here, in this quiet arrival, that the cartographer begins to understand the true scope of their task. Mapping a single world is simple compared to tracing the delicate threads that connect countless realms. Each line drawn on the shifting paper must honor the subtlety of reality, must allow the essence of a world to breathe freely, even as it is catalogued. And so the cartographer moves slowly, almost reverently, across streets that bend in impossible ways, through forests whose trees remember names long forgotten, past rivers that flow in patterns that defy ordinary comprehension. In this moment, there is a strange serenity, a sense that even though the universe is vast and infinite, and even though the work ahead seems impossible, there is a gentle rhythm to it all. The cartographer's presence is like a soft current moving through water, barely disturbing the surface, yet guiding the hidden flow beneath. To follow their steps is to feel the quiet weight of possibility, to notice the beauty of worlds that exist in the spaces between stories, and to understand that the act of observation is itself a kind of loving attention, a tender acknowledgement of all that is, all that might have been, and all that could yet unfold. As the cartographer's journey unfolds, the light around them seems to shift in subtle, unnoticeable ways. Shadows stretch longer here, curving around invisible corners, and colors carry a depth that hints at hidden histories. A hill that appears simple at first glance may conceal the echo of battles that never ended, the laughter of friends who never parted, or the quiet sorrow of a kingdom that faded before it was fully known. The cartographer notices these nuances without judgment, allowing each detail to exist exactly as it does, recording them not to control or alter, but simply to honor. There is a peculiar stillness in the air, as though the world itself is holding its breath to allow the cartographer's steps. Even the smallest of movements seems weighted with purpose. Leaves tremble slightly when they pass, but not in fear. Rather, they acknowledge the presence of someone who sees. Streams glint with reflections that are not quite real, showing skies that might have been, suns that might have risen differently, and clouds that drift along alternate winds. In the water's surface, glimpses of other possibilities ripple faintly, and the cartographer leans in, tracing these liquid paths with careful strokes of ink that seem to capture not just shape, but the quiet essence of existence itself. Sometimes, the cartographer pauses beside a tree, leaning gently against its trunk, feeling the rhythm of its growth. Here, in these subtle pauses, they gather understanding not just of space, but of time, how it stretches and bends across dimensions, how one small choice can create echoes that resonate across countless realities. The tree might have never existed in another world, or it might have grown taller, older, wiser, bearing witness to entirely different stories. By touching it, even lightly, the cartographer becomes aware of the delicate network of life and memory, of the fragile beauty of worlds that are always in motion, even when they appear still. And then there are the quiet inhabitants of these spaces. Sometimes they are fully formed, recognizable as beings we might know, yet subtly different. Perhaps a child plays in a courtyard, Yet they carry memories that do not belong to this timeline. Or a cat stretches lazily in the sun, and its eyes hold knowledge of 1,000 other lives. The cartographer observes without interrupting, for to interfere would be to alter the natural flow of possibility. They record not only the presence of these beings, but the intangible qualities of their worlds, the smells, the sounds, the pauses between moments that are almost imperceptible but essential. Paths unfold like ribbons of silk, winding in ways that feel at once familiar and impossible. A bridge arches over a river that seems to shimmer with multiple colors at once, a soft hum rising from its currents. As the cartographer steps carefully onto it, the world shifts ever so slightly beneath their feet, revealing glimpses of other bridges in other dimensions, some worn and cracked, some endless and radiant. Each pathway suggests not just movement, but the story of movement, how one step, one choice, can ripple outward, connecting far-flung realities in ways that are gentle, subtle, and profound. The cartographer's maps grow with every careful observation. Pages seem to unfurl endlessly, revealing landscapes that defy ordinary comprehension. Mountains rise and fall like waves frozen in time. Valleys fold in on themselves, creating hidden hollows where unspoken stories quietly linger. A single page might contain dozens of worlds, layered delicately upon one another, each rendered with exquisite attention to detail. To look upon these maps is to witness the infinite possibilities of existence, to feel the gentle hum of creation in the spaces between what is and what might be. Even time itself seems to bend around the cartographer. Moments stretch like soft taffy, allowing a single day to contain decades of quiet observation. Nights shimmer longer, offering glimpses of constellations that exist only in dreams, stars that burn softly in places that no one else has ever seen. The cartographer watches these skies with a gentle reverence, tracing them in ink, not to claim them, but to ensure that their brilliance is acknowledged, preserved in the slow, careful work of mapping. Occasionally, the cartographer pauses at a quiet crossroads where reality seems to fold upon itself. Here, multiple possibilities converge, some paths visible, others faintly hinted at by a shimmer or a whisper of color. They sit, quill poised, observing the interplay of worlds, noting the small divergences that create the tapestry of existence. A gust of wind might carry a memory from one realm to another, and the cartographer captures it with soft strokes, recording not only the shapes of worlds, but the resonance of their stories, the echo of their choices. And so the quiet arrival of the cartographer is never a rush, never a dramatic entrance. It is a gentle unfolding, a slow, deliberate immersion into the infinite, a careful acknowledgement of every moment, every shadow, every possibility. To follow them is to learn patience, to notice the beauty in subtleties, and to understand that every world, no matter how small or forgotten, holds significance. The maps grow, the quill moves, and the cartographer walks onward, guided by whispers of what was, what might have been, and what will softly continue in the spaces between realities. As the cartographer moves further into the soft, shifting lands, the world begins to show hints of its hidden depths, small cracks in reality, almost imperceptible at first, glimmer faintly in the corners of their vision. A puddle on the ground might reflect not just the sky above, but a sky from a world that diverged long ago. A fallen leaf drifts lazily along a breeze, carrying with it the faintest echo of laughter that never reached its intended ear. These subtle anomalies are not mistakes. They are traces of the multiverse, whispers of lives that exist parallel to, yet separate from, the world the cartographer now traverses. Each step through these spaces feels like walking through a layered dream where the soft hum of forgotten moments vibrates just beneath perception. There is an almost sacred rhythm to the cartographer's work. They pause frequently, tilting their head, listening to the way a branch bends, how the wind folds through the grass, or the distant murmur of a river that has no end. Each sound, each movement, each flicker of light is a thread to be traced, a hint of a story waiting to be acknowledged. They do not rush, because in the infinite expanse of possibility, haste would be meaningless, even intrusive. To observe is to honor, and to honor is to weave the quietest of spells, a gentle preservation of moments that might otherwise dissolve into the endless folds of time. And then there are the first signs of worlds that have been forgotten. These are not places simply abandoned, but realms that never fully emerged, spaces where events unfolded differently or not at all. Perhaps a town never received its proper name, or a hero chose to stay hidden, leaving the world in a state of quiet suspension. Sometimes the remnants are faint, a ruined castle half swallowed by moss, a fountain whose waters never fully flowed, streets empty except for echoes of footsteps that never happened. The cartographer approaches these spaces without fear, their presence gentle, almost reverent, as if understanding that these worlds, delicate and fragile, deserve care and quiet recognition. As they trace the shapes of these forgotten lands, the cartographer begins to notice subtle distortions. Time does not flow here as it does elsewhere. A single hour might contain lifetimes of observation, and yet, in the same space, centuries may pass in worlds that lie just beyond reach. It is a strange, fluid understanding of reality, where beginnings and endings are blurred, and where cause and effect move in soft, spiraling loops. The cartographer's quill moves across the page with grace, capturing these distortions, drawing paths that bend and shimmer, recording not just the shape of these worlds, but the weight of their untold stories. There is a particular forest they pass through, unlike any ordinary forest, where trees grow in spirals, their branches curling toward unseen suns. The leaves seem to hum faintly, vibrating with memories of worlds that could have existed. Here the cartographer kneels, placing a hand gently on a tree trunk, feeling the pulse of countless possibilities. A single tree might remember the footsteps of a hero who never left home, or the whispers of a princess who chose a quiet life over rule. And yet, all of this exists not as sadness, but as quiet beauty, a gentle acknowledgement that every choice, every possibility, every abandoned path has its own resonance. Sometimes the cartographer encounters beings who have lingered in these forgotten places. They are usually quiet, almost translucent, aware of the multiverse in ways that ordinary residents of Ulu are not. A fox with eyes like molten amber might watch the traveler with a curiosity, yet it does not speak, for words would only collapse the delicate balance of this forgotten realm. A young girl might appear briefly, tracing patterns in the dirt with a stick, leaving shapes that hint at stories that never reached conclusion. The cartographer notes them in soft, careful detail, not to capture or trap them, but to honor their presence, to acknowledge that even forgotten lives carry meaning. These worlds, though quiet, are never truly still. Rivers may twist in impossible loops. Mountains may rise and fall like gentle waves, and clouds drift along currents that seem to hum with distant music. The cartographer's maps grow with this subtle complexity, pages folding and unfurling endlessly. Each stroke of ink is a meditation, a recognition of a life, a story, a world that deserves to be remembered. And yet the traveler never tires, moving with a patience that stretches time itself, their mind attuned to the soft pulse of the multiverse. their hearts steady in the knowledge that some stories are infinite and some are meant to linger quietly, just out of reach. As night begins to settle over this first world, the cartographer pauses on a hill, gazing at the horizon where colors shift between soft violet and deep indigo. Stars appear, but they are not ordinary stars. They flicker with strange familiarity, each one a memory of a world that never fully formed, a possibility that glimmered and receded. In this moment, the cartographer's work feels complete and yet never complete, a paradox of observation and existence. To witness all these realities is to understand the quiet magic of stories that continue unseen, worlds that breathe softly in the spaces between what is and what might be, and the infinite, gentle task of giving them recognition without disturbing their fragile harmony. The cartographer rises slowly, brushing dirt from their robes, and takes the first careful steps towards the unknown lands beyond this hill. Each movement is deliberate yet effortless, guided by the soft pull of possibilities that call from just beyond the horizon. The maps sway gently in their hands, shimmering with lines and shapes that twist like rivers of light. In their wake, the world does not notice the passage of the traveler, yet it seems subtly altered, more alive in its quiet existence, more vivid in its infinite potential. And so the cartographer continues, moving onward, deeper into the folds of reality, tracing what was, what might have been, and what quietly persists where no one else has ever looked. The further the cartographer moves, the more the world seems to unfold like a living storybook, each page revealing a layer of reality that is at once familiar and strange. Hills roll into valleys that curve impossibly. Rivers twist like threads of silver weaving through hidden canyons, and clouds drift along currents that whisper of forgotten tales. Every step taken is measured, soft, a gentle acknowledgement that these places, delicate as they are, hold the weight of countless possibilities. The cartographer does not disturb the balance. Instead, they move as a shadow might, brushing past without friction, observing without interruption, recording without intrusion. Occasionally, a strange resonance hums through the air, a vibration that seems to echo from worlds layered beneath the one they walk in. It is subtle, felt more than heard, like the faint pulse of a distant heartbeat. The cartographer pauses, tilting their head to listen, quill poised in midair, aware that these are not ordinary echoes, but traces of events that never fully happened, of choices made elsewhere that ripple softly into this plane. Sometimes it is a laugh, faint and fleeting, of a hero who turned back at the last moment. Sometimes it is the sigh of a kingdom that quietly fell into obscurity before it was fully born. Each resonance is a story waiting to be acknowledged, a thread to be traced, a world to be quietly mapped. In one hidden glade, the cartographer finds a pond whose surface is unnaturally still. Leaning close, they notice reflections not of this world alone, but of countless other worlds layered atop it. Trees shimmer with alternate foliage. Skies glow in hues that have never existed in any known realm, and figures move silently, playing out lives that the present world never contained. The cartographer's hand hovers over the page of their map, and the ink responds as if alive, capturing these overlapping realities with delicate precision. Lines twist and loop, not to define, but to honor, to preserve the soft resonance of possibilities without forcing them into rigid form. It is in moments like these that the cartographer becomes almost invisible, a part of the world's quiet rhythm. A fox with eyes like molten amber may pause and watch. A deer may step lightly across a path, and a distant voice may whisper a name that exists nowhere else. The traveler does not speak, does not reach out, does not interfere. Their presence is a gentle blessing, a quiet acknowledgement that these stories, though forgotten or unrealized, matter. And the maps grow page by page, layer upon layer, capturing not just geography, but essence, not just form, but resonance. As they climb a gentle hill toward the horizon, the sky above begins to darken, not into night, as one might expect, but into a soft twilight that stretches across infinite possibilities. Stars begin to shimmer, each one pulsing faintly with memories of worlds that never fully came to be. Some are bright, reflecting lives lived fully, while others flicker softly, recalling moments that might have been, heroes who almost acted, kingdoms that almost rose, friendships that almost existed. The cartographer pauses, quill in hand, letting the quiet of the moment settle into their being. It is a silence that hums with meaning, a stillness that contains both wonder and gentle melancholy. The horizon reveals hills and forests that seem to fold back upon themselves, suggesting paths that diverge and converge, worlds that spiral into one another like threads in a tapestry. The cartographer steps forward with careful reverence, following trails that hint at untold histories, noting the spaces where timelines twist or falter. Each observation is soft, precise, an acknowledgement of existence rather than an attempt to command it. They move through forests where leaves shimmer with alternate memories, across plains where rivers split into multiple streams, each carrying the reflections of lives lived differently. The maps expand as they walk, ink flowing like gentle streams across pages that bend and ripple with the multiverse's rhythm. Sometimes they encountered traces of civilizations that never fully existed, a palace half carved from crystal, towers that crumble as one watches, streets lined with shops whose owners vanish if approached too closely. These are the forgotten echoes, and the cartographer treats them with quiet respect. There is no hurry to record everything at once. Rather, they linger, letting the world reveal itself in its own time. Each mark made is a meditation, a soft recognition that even a world that never fully formed has a story worth remembering. And yet, despite the vastness, there is intimacy here, a gentle closeness between observer and observed. The cartographer senses the faint heartbeat of each world, the subtle pull of each timeline, the tender resonance of possibilities. They do not seek to alter what they find, only to understand and honor it, to trace its shape in ink that captures essence rather than form. Here in these quiet beginnings, the cartographer is both witness and guardian, their presence a soft light in the subtle twilight of worlds on the edge of memory. As they pause atop a hill, overlooking a valley that shifts like liquid glass, the cartographer breathes in the rhythm of infinite realities. Lines of the map shimmer faintly, tracing rivers that flow backward, mountains that rise and fall in cycles, skies layered with suns and moons that exist only here. The traveler's hand hovers over the paper, moving slowly, deliberately, capturing not only space but the gentle music of possibility. It is a task without end, a journey without beginning, yet it carries with it a quiet joy, a patient wonder at the infinite beauty of what was, what might have been, and what softly continues to exist, just beyond perception. And so the cartographer continues, walking through the twilight, following paths that are visible only to those who truly observe, tracing lines that bend across time and space, moving ever deeper into the quiet mystery of the multiverse, where forgotten dimensions, shimmering timelines, and the infinite echo of stories await their careful, gentle attention. The journey has only just begun, and yet already it is a meditation, a lullaby, sung softly to the worlds themselves, a slow, deliberate uncovering of the infinite tapestry of existence. As the cartographer moves deeper into the folds of reality, the familiar contours of ooh begin to blur, and new, quieter landscapes emerge. These are the forgotten dimensions, places that exist on the margins of memory, where events unfolded differently or did not happen at all. They are not chaotic nor frightening. They carry a delicate, dreamlike quality, a sense that time and space themselves have softened here to accommodate the fragile beauty of untold stories. The air is cooler, yet tinged with warmth, as if the atmosphere itself hums with the echoes of worlds that quietly persisted beyond the reach of ordinary observation. The cartographer steps into the first of these dimensions, a forest where the trees are taller than any they have seen before, their trunks spiraling toward the sky as if stretching to remember a past that no longer exists. Leaves shimmer with a translucent glow, catching the light in strange, impossible patterns, and the ground beneath their feet seems to breathe gently, rising and falling like the soft chest of a sleeping creature. Here no birds sing, no wind rustles with ordinary sound. Instead, there is a subtle hum, a quiet resonance that vibrates through every branch and stone, carrying memories of a world that almost was. The cartographer kneels to place a finger upon a leaf, feeling the pulse of what might have been, and allows their quill to capture it in ink that seems to hum softly, recording essence rather than form. In these dimensions, familiar figures appear altered, or perhaps only half remembered. A figure resembling Finn walks through a glade, yet there is a gentleness in their movements that suggests choices were made differently. A crownless bubblegum moves quietly through an empty courtyard, smiling softly to no one, a life unrecorded but profoundly felt. These echoes are not mere copies, but reflections of infinite possibilities, showing paths that diverge just enough to create worlds apart from the stories we know. The cartographer watches, noting the subtleties, the tilt of a head, the hesitation of a hand, the faintest trace of a decision that never came to fruition. Each detail becomes a line in the growing tapestry of the multiverse, a thread connecting realities that exist silently alongside one another. Some dimensions are fragile, almost translucent. A town might shimmer at the edge of perception, its buildings half-formed, streets bending in impossible directions. And yet there is a completeness to them, a quiet wholeness that does not rely on permanence. The cartographer moves carefully through these spaces, aware that observation itself could alter them, and yet knowing that their task is one of preservation, not interference. Every footprint is measured, every breath taken lightly, as though the world might shatter if noticed too heavily. The maps in their hands stretch and fold, pages breathing in response to the subtleties of these delicate realms, capturing the geometry of possibilities without forcing them into rigidity. And there are echoes of the mushroom war in some of these dimensions, faint traces of catastrophe softened into quiet landscapes. A castle lies in ruins, yet vines and flowers have claimed it in a slow, unhurried reclamation. Rivers twist unnaturally, reflecting skies that are both stormy and calm, carrying memories of conflicts that never truly resolved. The cartographer pauses beside these rivers, dipping the quill to catch the shimmer of time itself, letting the ink record the muted resonance of worlds shaped by choices that went differently than in their known histories. There is a sorrow here, yes, but it is tempered by wonder, by the soft knowledge that these places persist, quietly, beautifully, and without fanfare. Some dimensions hold echoes of creatures that exist only in memory or imagination. A dog-like being might walk past, eyes luminous and knowing, aware of all the worlds layered upon one another. A tiny princess may sit upon a throne of stone, writing letters that no one will read, her gestures captured in the delicate folds of the multiverse. The cartographer does not interfere, they merely observe, tracing the resonance of presence, the subtle energy of life that persists even in forgotten or unrealized worlds. Every line of the map records not just space, but the quiet heartbeat of reality, allowing these dimensions to exist in acknowledgement, even if no one else remembers them. Paths wind through landscapes that seem at once familiar and impossible. A bridge arches over a river, yet the water below reflects a sky from another world. Hills rise and fall in ways that defy ordinary geometry, and valleys twist into loops that fold over themselves, creating a sense of infinite depth. The cartographer traces these shapes with careful, deliberate strokes, following the natural flow of possibility, understanding that even the smallest mark has weight. Time here is soft, malleable, stretched and folded like gentle taffy, allowing the traveler to linger, to notice, to record the faint hum of histories that never fully unfolded. Some of these dimensions are quiet enough to feel alive in a way that is almost sacred. The cartographer sits beside a waterfall that glows faintly, listening to the water as it whispers memories of worlds layered beneath it. A stone path hums softly beneath their fingertips, tracing footsteps of beings who almost existed here. The cartographer's quill moves with infinite patience, capturing the resonance of these quiet echoes without forcing form, letting the ink breathe with the memory of possibilities. Each mark is a soft song of acknowledgement, a gentle meditation upon what was, what might have been, and what persists in silence beyond observation. And so the cartographer continues to drift through these forgotten dimensions, guided not by urgency, but by an almost reverent curiosity. Every corner of a ruined castle, every hidden grove, every shimmering pond becomes a page in their ever-growing map. There is no hurry, no need to finish, because the infinite multiverse offers patience in abundance. Each world is a soft heartbeat, a whisper of possibility, and the cartographer, ever calm, ever observant, moves among them like a quiet wind, carrying with them the slow, deliberate act of remembrance. As the cartographer wanders further, the dimensions grow increasingly strange yet calm, like the soft edges of a half-remembered dream. Valleys stretch in directions that defy expectation, and hills fold in upon themselves, forming quiet alcoves that exist almost out of sight. Here the light is gentler, filtered through layers of unseen skies, casting subtle patterns across moss and stone. The air carries the faintest echoes of voices that never reach the ears of any ordinary observer. A laughter that skipped a lifetime, a sigh that could belong to a hero who turned away from destiny, a whisper from a kingdom that quietly dissolved before its time. The cartographer listens to these whispers as if they were music, and their quill moves in rhythm, tracing lines that shimmer with the soft glow of worlds existing beyond memory. In one glade, they discover a pond whose waters reflect not one sky, but several superimposed upon each other. One cloud drifts across the surface as though it belongs to this dimension, while another swirls faintly beneath it, carrying stars from a world that never had nightfall. A fox-like creature steps silently from the trees, its fur shifting in iridescent patterns, reflecting possibilities the eye cannot fully comprehend. The cartographer observes, noting these subtle movements, the way the creature tilts its head as if aware of the multitude of lives layered above and below it. Ink flows across the map, capturing the resonance of presence rather than a literal image, a quiet acknowledgement that even the most ephemeral beings have significance in these fragile dimensions. Some places seem almost frozen in time, yet they are full of soft motion. A village square sits empty, cobblestones worn but unbroken, houses leaning gently toward one another as if in quiet conversation. Windows glow faintly, though no one is inside, and the faint hum of distant footsteps lingers in the air. The cartographer moves slowly through the streets, hand hovering above the surfaces of the map, sensing where memories linger. Each building, each pathway, carries echoes of lives that were never fully lived, stories that began and paused, creating a quiet harmony of unrealized potential. To mark these places is not to claim them, but to honor them, to ensure that even forgotten moments are acknowledged in the infinite architecture of reality. In some dimensions, the ordinary rules of matter seem suspended. Rivers curve back upon themselves, flowing upstream without effort, reflecting forests that exist in alternate angles, forests that shimmer with colors the mind struggles to name. Mountains rise and fall in gentle undulations, folding into hidden valleys where the soft glow of unknown suns illuminates unseen flowers. Here, the cartographer traces paths with deliberate care, allowing the quill to follow the subtle music of the land. Each stroke captures the gentle pulse of time as it bends and folds, preserving not just geography, but the resonance of worlds alive with quiet possibility. Occasionally, the cartographer encounters beings who inhabit these forgotten dimensions fully, yet differently from any other place. A young princess walks silently through a meadow, arranging stones into intricate patterns, unaware that she exists only in this iteration of reality. A bear with soft, shimmering fur pauses beneath a tree, listening to a melody only it can hear, a song that is both ancient and unformed. The cartographer observes with a gentle patience, recording their presence, their movements, the soft weight of their being on this fragile plane. There is no need for words, for even the quiet act of watching conveys a kind of reverent recognition, a subtle blessing that allows these lives to exist peacefully, fully acknowledged, without intrusion. The air itself seems aware, shifting in delicate patterns that echo the history of these dimensions. Breezes carry whispers from worlds layered beneath the current one, scents of flowers that never bloomed, faint traces of rain that fell centuries ago. The cartographer inhales slowly, letting the resonance of these elements guide their quill, their maps expanding with each subtle observation. Here even silence is alive, a rich, layered presence that speaks of forgotten civilizations, unrealized adventures, and the beauty of stories that persist quietly, unseen and unrecorded. In a valley where fog drifts lazily, the cartographer finds ruins of a castle that was never fully completed. Stones shimmer with soft light, carved with patterns that reflect alternate histories, each line tracing a path not taken. A flag waves gently in the wind, yet it bears no emblem, no mark of ownership. The air hums faintly with memories of ceremonies that never occurred, of rulers who never claimed the throne, and of citizens who lived in a world suspended between creation and forgetfulness. The cartographer traces each curve and indentation with care, letting the map honor these echoes without demanding resolution. It is a quiet meditation, a gentle acknowledgement that even what never fully existed has weight and presence in the fabric of reality. The cartographer moves onward, deeper into forests, across empty villages, and along rivers that shimmer with alternate skies. Each step reveals subtleties that the eye almost misses. A flower that blooms only once every 1,000 cycles, a tree that remembers the footsteps of beings who never arrived, a bridge that folds back upon itself into infinity. The maps grow with each observation, stretching into impossible dimensions, capturing not just space, but resonance, not just form, but the essence of the worlds that linger just beyond memory. And through it all, The cartographer moves slowly, reverently, like a soft wind that touches everything without altering, recording all that is and all that quietly could have been. As the cartographer ventures further, the forgotten dimensions begin to reveal themselves with increasing clarity, though always with a quiet, otherworldly softness. Valleys that at first seemed empty now pulse gently with life, though it is a life not often noticed, a rhythm of existence that moves in layers beneath the ordinary perception of time. Moss-covered stones hum faintly underfoot, trees sway with the currents unseen, and rivers ripple with reflections of worlds that could have been. The cartographer pauses frequently, listening to the subtle songs of these dimensions, letting the resonance guide the quill and chart the unseen territories with care. In one particularly serene glade, a grove of trees rises impossibly tall, their roots entwining in spirals that suggest centuries of slow, patient growth. Between the roots, small lights flicker softly, like tiny stars captured in the earth itself. These are the echoes of beings who never walked this world, traces of possibilities that shimmer faintly because they were never fully realized. The cartographer kneels, letting a hand hover above the glowing points, and the quill follows a delicate, curving line across the page, capturing not only their positions, but the gentle weight of what they represent. These are worlds in which decisions diverged, histories paused, or moments were quietly erased, and yet each holds beauty in its fragile, ephemeral form. Some dimensions are silent in the most profound way, a silence so deep that it almost feels tangible. A valley may stretch endlessly, dotted with hills and forests that twist in impossible patterns, yet there is no wind, no animals, no sound except the faint heartbeat of possibility itself. The cartographer moves softly, conscious that every step might awaken subtle ripples in the fabric of these worlds. Every observation is measured, every stroke of ink, infused with the patience of centuries, because even in silence, the echo of memory matters. The maps grow thicker here, pages folding gently upon one another, capturing the geometry of unreality, the resonance of quiet existence. In some places, faint traces of civilizations that never flourished can be discerned. An abandoned market square shows stalls constructed but never used, the faint shimmer of wares that existed only in potential. A tower leans precariously, held together by the quiet insistence of possibility rather than the weight of reality. And yet these places are not desolate. They possess a quiet dignity, a whisper of life that is soft but insistent. The cartographer traces each detail, careful to honor the story that never fully formed, understanding that every unrealized world carries significance, even if it exists only in the liminal spaces of memory. Sometimes beings wander into view, as subtle as the light through mist. A young girl may sit beneath a tree, drawing patterns in the dirt with a stick, patterns that mirror worlds that exist elsewhere. A fox-like creature may pause at the edge of a shimmering pond, ears twitching as if it senses the many layers of reality around it. The cartographer observes without interference, following the rhythm of their movements and recording the essence of their presence. There is no need for conversation, for words would only risk breaking the fragile balance of these dimensions. Observation alone, paired with gentle acknowledgement, is enough to honor their existence. The geometry of these worlds often defies ordinary understanding. Hills fold into valleys in loops, rivers twist back upon themselves, and forests bend in ways that suggest invisible hands shaping the landscape. Yet there is coherence in this seeming chaos, a soft harmony that can be felt rather than fully comprehended. The cartographer moves as if part of this rhythm, tracing the contours of impossibility with a practiced grace. The maps capture more than shape. They hold essence, echo, resonance, and the delicate weight of unfulfilled histories. Each page seems to breathe softly, expanding as new layers of existence are observed, contracting when a dimension slips quietly back into shadow. There are moments when the cartographer encounters spaces that shimmer like dreams half remembered. A castle may rise in soft hues, its stones glowing faintly, yet windows remain empty. Halls echo with the sound of possibilities never acted upon. A gentle river flows around it, carrying reflections of alternate skies, and in its waters, the faint traces of stories that never reached conclusion drift lazily. The cartographer leans close, letting their fingers hover above the surface of the map as ink traces the contours of the castle, capturing its presence without claiming it, preserving it gently for the endless possibilities it represents. And always the air itself carries echoes. Breezes whisper of lives never lived, choices never made, and moments that almost occurred but were quietly folded away. A single step may stir the faintest shimmer of existence, and the cartographer is careful to move with patience, honoring the delicate balance of observation without interference. The quill dances across the map, following the natural rhythm of the forgotten dimension, weaving together rivers, hills, forests, and creatures into a tapestry of infinite subtlety. Every mark is a meditation, a lullaby sung softly to the worlds themselves, an acknowledgement that even the unseen and unrealized have meaning and resonance. The cartographer moves deeper still, into valleys where stars shimmer faintly even in daylight, where flowers bloom that exist nowhere else, and where rivers carry reflections not of this world alone, but of dimensions layered atop one another. The maps respond to the presence of these subtle miracles, expanding with soft folds that hint at hidden depth, recording the weight of possibilities rather than the strict geometry of space. Here the cartographer begins to feel the true scope of forgotten dimensions, the way they intersect, diverge, and hum with the quiet pulse of lives that might have been. And so the cartographer drifts through these forgotten dimensions, each step slow and deliberate, each observation a soft acknowledgement of what exists beyond perception. The worlds are quiet, ethereal, and full of gentle resonance. Every ruined village, every twisting forest, every shimmering pond, every faint echo of a being that might have existed carries significance. And in tracing them carefully, the cartographer weaves a map that is not only a record of geography, but a meditation on the infinite possibilities of existence, a lullaby to the silent, forgotten corners of reality where stories quietly persist, waiting to be remembered. Deeper into the forgotten dimensions, the cartographer begins to notice patterns in the quiet strangeness, subtle harmonies that suggest these worlds are not random accidents, but intricate layers of possibility. Hills fold upon themselves like slow-moving waves. Forests stretch in arcs that seem to remember paths never taken, and rivers split into countless tributaries, each carrying reflections of skies from alternate realities. The very ground hums with resonance, a faint vibration that seems to echo the choices and moments these worlds never fully realized. The cartographer pauses to feel the rhythm beneath their feet, letting it guide the quill as it traces delicate lines across the ever-expanding map. In a valley where the fog drifts in lazy spirals, the traveler discovers a village that exists in a state of soft suspension. Buildings lean as though conversing quietly with one another. Streets curve in gentle impossibilities, and doors open to reveal rooms that hold memories rather than matter. Shadows move independently of their objects, and the faintest laughter carries through empty corridors, a chorus of lives that never fully unfolded. The cartographer walks slowly through the space, noting the subtle energy of each structure, each pathway, each echo, recording them in gentle strokes that capture essence without attempting to impose order. There is a reverence here, a recognition that even unrealized lives deserve acknowledgement, even if only in quiet observation. Some dimensions shimmer like glass in soft light, fragile and almost translucent. Castles rise from the earth as if drawn from dreams, delicate and luminous, yet hollow within. Flags wave without wind, banners embroidered with symbols that exist only in possibility. The cartographer leans close, quill poised above the page, tracing the contours with infinite care. Every line is deliberate, every curve a quiet meditation on the worlds that exist in the spaces between histories. Time moves differently here, stretched and folded like gentle fabric, allowing observation to linger for years in a single heartbeat, capturing more than form, the soft hum of existence itself. Creatures inhabit these spaces in ways both familiar and strange. A young girl traces patterns in a field, her movements echoing choices she never made elsewhere. A fox-like being slips between trees, fur glimmering with colors borrowed from dimensions that exist only in imagination. They are aware of the cartographer's presence, but do not speak, for words would collapse the delicate balance of these fragile realities. The observer's role is not to intervene, only to honor, to witness, and to preserve. The quill flows with subtle movements, capturing not merely appearance but resonance, allowing these beings to remain intact in the infinite layers of the multiverse. The air itself carries memories, fragrances of flowers that never bloomed, echoes of music that never played, the soft warmth of fires that never burned. Inhaling slowly, the cartographer senses the threads that bind these dimensions together, subtle connections between places that seem entirely separate but are, in truth, intertwined through quiet currents of possibility. Rivers mirror skies from worlds above, mountains fold back upon themselves like breathing chests, and valleys hum with the gentle pulse of stories waiting to be acknowledged. Each page of the map becomes a meditation, a lullaby of lines and shapes that preserves the unseen and the almost lived. Among the forgotten dimensions are pockets where history bends gently into impossibility. A ruined tower stands at the edge of a lake, yet in the water stars swirl in patterns that belong to other realities. Children play in invisible fields, leaving traces only detectable to one who truly sees. The cartographer observes these moments carefully, tracing their echo with ink that seems to float above the page, capturing resonance rather than detail, acknowledging the existence of what never fully was. The maps themselves seem to respond, expanding in quiet ripples, folding softly over new dimensions as they are discovered. Occasionally, the traveler finds spaces where time and memory mingle in delicate confusion. A forest appears twice, layered one atop the other, with paths that overlap and intertwine, creating infinite loops of possibility. A town may appear empty in one dimension, yet bustling in another, and the faint echo of voices drifts across the boundaries. The cartographer moves through these overlaps with patience, recording the subtle divergences, honoring the soft complexity of worlds that exist in the quiet folds of reality. Every stroke of ink preserves the ephemeral nature of existence, a gentle acknowledgement that all possibilities matter, even those left untold. In some of the most serene corners, light behaves in unexpected ways. Sunsets stretch across valleys that fold upon themselves, reflecting in rivers that bend through time, and shadows trace paths that exist only in memory. The cartographer tilts the map, watching as lines shimmer and ripple, capturing the interplay between form and resonance. In these moments, it becomes clear that the forgotten dimensions are not merely lost or abandoned. They are alive, breathing in the quiet space, stories almost unfolded, and where the multiverse itself hums softly with infinite potential. The cartographer pauses atop a hill, looking out over a panorama of impossible landscape, twisting forests, rivers that shimmer with overlapping skies, castles both whole and half-formed, and creatures that drift in and out of perception. All of it exists in delicate harmony, a tapestry of realities too subtle to notice except through careful observation. The quill hovers above the map, tracing gentle lines that capture not only geography, but the soft resonance of existence. Every fold, every ripple, every shimmer is acknowledged, preserved in the quiet meditation of mapping. And so the cartographer continues, moving slowly through these forgotten dimensions, guided by whispers of possibility and the soft glow of worlds that exist just beyond perception. Every moment is gentle, deliberate, and reverent. Each step uncovers stories that never reached conclusion, lives that unfolded differently, and echoes of histories that slipped between the cracks of known time. And though these dimensions are quiet and fragile, they are alive, shimmering softly in the cartographer's careful gaze, waiting to be seen, traced, and honored in the infinite, patient work of mapping the multiverse. As the cartographer moves beyond the quiet resonance of forgotten dimensions, a new layer of the multiverse begins to reveal itself, one where time does not flow as we expect. These are the distorted timelines, realms in which moments fold, split, and loop upon themselves in ways that seem impossible, yet profoundly natural. Here, a day may stretch into decades, while centuries might pass in what feels like a single heartbeat. The air hums with the soft vibration of temporal flux, carrying the faint echo of decisions made differently, of events that bent in directions unseen, and of lives that unfolded out of sequence. The cartographer steps carefully, attuned to the gentle rhythm of these temporal anomalies, quill poised to capture not only space, but the subtle pulse of time itself. In one dimension, a castle appears both young and ancient. Towers rise freshly built from the earth, while their foundations lie cracked and worn as if centuries had already passed. Within its halls, a princess moves in a quiet loop, her footsteps retracing a soft, endless pattern, her gaze lingering on portraits that alternate between youth and old age. The cartographer observes without interrupting, tracing lines across the map that curve and spiral to capture the strange layering of past and future. Every detail matters: the tilt of her head, the gentle sway of her robes, the way light falls differently with each repetition of the moment. Time here is not linear but layered, like delicate sheets of glass stacked just so, each containing a memory, a choice, a possibility waiting to be acknowledged. Rivers in these timelines defy ordinary expectation. One stream may flow backward in sections, reflecting the sky from a different moment, while another twists upon itself, looping through valleys and forests as if chasing the echoes of decisions long past. The cartographer follows these waterways, feeling the gentle tug of time's anomalies beneath their fingertips. Stones along the riverbed bear the impressions of countless feet, some real, some spectral, marking paths that cross and recross in intricate, almost hypnotic patterns. The quill moves slowly, deliberately, recording the rhythm of these rivers, capturing not just their shape, but their temporal resonance, the subtle ebb and flow of moments that exist simultaneously, yet separately. In a quiet glade, the cartographer encounters a young boy who seems caught between ages. One moment, he is laughing as a child, chasing a ball across soft grass, and the next, he pauses mid-step, eyes reflecting years he has not yet lived. The trees around him shift subtly, their branches extending and retracting in harmony with the boy's temporal dissonance. To witness this is to feel the soft weight of lives stretched across impossible sequences, to understand that choices ripple forward and backward, intertwining with other possibilities in ways too delicate to disrupt. The cartographer notes each movement with care, the quill gliding across pages that bend and ripple like the very moments they depict. Some timelines fold in upon themselves so completely that one can walk in a circle and pass through the same events multiple times, each iteration slightly different. A town square may appear bustling, then deserted, then bustling again, with the same individuals moving in subtly altered ways. The cartographer follows these variations patiently, mapping the loops with gentle precision, capturing the fluidity of existence rather than imposing rigidity. In these spaces, beginnings and endings blur, and it becomes clear that time is not merely a river, but a delicate, living fabric, capable of stretching, folding, and weaving infinite stories into the quiet multiverse. And within these loops, familiar figures sometimes emerge in entirely new contexts. A hero may appear who was never meant to act, a princess may choose solitude over leadership, and a kingdom may rise and fall repeatedly, each cycle slightly altered by choices the observer cannot yet perceive. The cartographer traces these lives with care, recording not only what happens, but the reverberations of what might have happened, understanding that each divergence holds its own quiet weight in the delicate architecture of reality. The cartographer's maps grow increasingly intricate, pages curling and folding upon themselves to accommodate the soft complexity of these distorted timelines. Lines spiral gently, connecting events across space and time, while the ink shimmers faintly, responsive to the rhythm of existence itself. Mountains may exist twice, rivers may split into overlapping courses, and forests may shift subtly as the moments within them ripple outward. Each map is less a tool of measurement and more a meditation, a slow acknowledgement of the infinite variations that exist in the unseen currents of reality. There are moments when time here is so malleable that even sound seems to fold and refract. A bird may sing its song, yet each note stretches across multiple cycles, heard differently depending on which fold of the timeline one listens to. Footsteps echo with multiple cadences, laughter resonates in loops, and whispers drift across dimensions as though carried by winds that have already passed and are yet to come. The cartographer absorbs these subtleties, letting the quill flow in harmony with the gentle dissonance, capturing resonance and repetition, the soft music of distorted time itself. In another valley, a ruined bridge arcs across a river that has no clear beginning or end. On one side, a traveler may cross for the first time, while on the other, a shadow of themselves appears to have already crossed, waiting silently. The cartographer studies the phenomenon with quiet fascination, tracing both presences on the map, noting the delicate interplay of action and reflection. Here, time is a living entity, not a framework, and the act of observation becomes a meditation, a gentle conversation with moments, both present and past, echoing into futures that shimmer just beyond perception. And so the cartographer moves slowly through these distorted timelines, walking along paths where moments fold, stretch, and spiral in gentle harmony. Every step is measured, every observation reverent, every mark on the map, a soft acknowledgement that time is neither linear nor absolute. It is a fabric, alive and responsive, filled with echoes of decisions and possibilities, and the traveler navigates it with patience and care, tracing the infinite dance of what was, what might have been, and what quietly persists, shimmering in the folds of the multiverse. As the cartographer, moves further into the distorted timelines, the boundaries between moments become even more subtle, almost imperceptible. A single step may take them through a cascade of events that overlap like translucent layers of silk, each one containing a life, a choice, or a whisper of possibility. In one quiet glade, the same tree exists simultaneously as a sapling, a towering giant, and a fallen trunk, each state visible depending on the angle from which it is observed. The cartographer leans close, allowing the quill to trace the spiraling forms, capturing the multiplicity of existence in soft, flowing lines. It is a delicate work, less about control and more about attunement, an act of quiet reverence toward the fabric of time itself. In certain corners of these timelines, echoes of past decisions resonate like faint, beautiful music. A young hero may hesitate at the edge of a cliff, and in the next fold, that hesitation has rippled outward, altering the paths of others who never saw him at all. The cartographer follows these reverberations patiently, tracing the subtle waves across the map, noting each divergence without judgment. The quill glides over pages that seem to respond, curving gently where moments fold and branching softly where choices multiply. It is as if the act of mapping is itself a conversation with reality, a lullaby, sung to keep the worlds gentle, coherent, and alive in their infinite variety. Some timelines are stranger still. A festival might be happening in one iteration, while the streets remain empty in another, and in yet a third, the same festival occurs centuries later, with participants who are ghosts of themselves from other folds of time. The cartographer watches quietly, noting the choreography of these overlapping lives. A merchant may be trading wares across all three realities at once, his smile slightly different in each fold. A child laughs, and the sound stretches across iterations, each echo carrying a slightly altered inflection. The quill captures this soft multiplicity, tracing lines that spiral outward to reflect the gentle complexity of overlapping events. There are moments when the cartographer must pause entirely, for some intersections of time are so delicate that observation alone can shift them. In a ruined palace, sunlight falls differently across floors that exist simultaneously in ruin and in pristine splendor. A princess may appear in multiple states, sitting on a throne in one fold, standing at a balcony in another, and quietly moving through an empty hallway in yet another. The cartographer's hand hovers, knowing that to press too firmly would be to collapse one possibility into another. Instead, they breathe slowly, letting the resonance of time settle around them, and allow the quill to follow the rhythm of these moments with patient grace. In a forest where the paths twist back upon themselves, the cartographer observes a group of travelers who seem unaware of the temporal loops around them. Each step they take is mirrored subtly in another iteration, a footfall that echoes across dimensions. One traveler smiles at a companion who, in another fold, has already left the path entirely. The cartographer notes the nuance, the slight changes in expression, the shifting gestures, recognizing that these moments, fleeting as they are, carry the weight of choices made and unmade. The map grows increasingly intricate, curling lines spiraling softly around each temporal node, a visualization not only of space, but of the gentle pulse of unfolding possibility. Rivers here are particularly fascinating, flowing in directions that defy expectation. In one section, water moves backward, carrying reflections from other moments. In another, tributaries loop endlessly, folding over themselves like ribbons caught in a soft wind. The cartographer traces these flows carefully, understanding that the rivers are not just physical entities, but temporal arteries, carrying the lifeblood of possibilities through dimensions that exist simultaneously yet separately. The quill follows each curve, capturing the resonance of motion, the soft echo of choices rippling through time. Even the creatures of these timelines behave differently than expected. A fox may walk a path multiple times, each iteration subtly altered, pausing at a rock that may or may not exist in another fold. Birds may sing the same song in overlapping cycles, their melodies slightly divergent yet harmoniously intertwined. The cartographer watches with gentle patience, recording these patterns, understanding that each nuance carries meaning, a soft signal of the infinite complexity woven into the multiverse. Every observation is deliberate, reverent, and quiet, preserving the subtle beauty of worlds where time itself is fluid, folded, and alive. And so the cartographer continues, moving through looping forests, folding rivers and overlapping valleys, tracing the patterns of distorted timelines with the slow, deliberate care of someone who knows that even the smallest gesture can resonate across infinity. Each mark of ink is a soft acknowledgement, a meditation upon the infinite branches of possibility, a lullaby whispered into the very heart of time itself. The quill dances gently across the pages, following the currents of moments, both lived and unlived, capturing not only the geography of these strange worlds, but the soft, quiet rhythm of existence as it twists and folds through the multiverse. As the cartographer wanders further into the distorted timelines, some moments begin to stretch and shimmer like water over sunlit stone, becoming almost tangible. A village that once existed in one reality is reflected across multiple iterations, each slightly altered. The marketplace may bustle with laughter in one fold, while remaining entirely silent in another. Children run and play in patterns that overlap yet never fully coincide, and the faint aroma of baked bread drifts along streets that exist simultaneously as past and future. The cartographer traces these overlapping patterns carefully, their quill moving with the slow patience of someone charting not only space, but the resonance of countless temporal echoes. In a quiet corner of one timeline, the cartographer observes a young hero making a choice that has already unfolded differently elsewhere. One version of the child steps toward adventure with confidence, while another lingers at the edge of the same path, hesitant and uncertain. Their companions appear in overlapping states, smiling in one fold, quietly walking away in another, and absent entirely in yet another. The cartographer's eyes move slowly, following each subtle divergence. Each line added to the map reflects not simply geography, but the gentle push and pull of decisions, the soft weight of moments that ripple across the fabric of time in infinite, delicate ways. Some landscapes fold over themselves in impossible loops, creating valleys within valleys, forests nested inside forests, and rivers that flow in arcs returning to their source. Within these folds, echoes of events repeat, subtly altered each time. A castle may appear pristine in one loop, and in ruins in another, its towers rising and falling like the breathing of a quiet, unseen creature. The cartographer approaches each structure with care, tracing the edges and noting the shifts, the soft changes that reveal the story of what was, what could have been, and what quietly persists in possibility. The maps become complex tapestries, spiraling gently with each fold of time, delicate and alive under the cartographer's patient hand. And there are beings who live within these temporal anomalies, existing in ways that seem both familiar and impossible. A princess may pace endlessly through her courtyard, yet her steps echo in multiple timelines, subtly diverging with each repetition. A bear-like creature wanders through a forest, pausing to observe moments that have not yet occurred in some folds and have already passed in others. The cartographer moves slowly, honoring these presences, capturing their resonance without imposing order, knowing that to force them into a single timeline would erase the quiet beauty of their existence. Every gesture, every flicker of movement is traced gently, allowing the map to reflect the subtle music of overlapping realities. Some moments are so delicate that they seem almost invisible, noticeable only in the spaces between perception. A river may flow beneath a bridge that exists only in one fold, reflecting skies that belong to another. A small cottage stands at the edge of a valley, its doors opening into multiple versions of itself across different times. The cartographer leans close, feeling the soft hum of these possibilities, and allows the quill to follow the gentle undulations of the land. Each mark is a meditation, a lullaby whispered to the timelines themselves, acknowledging their presence and preserving their delicate, shifting beauty. In certain folds, events seem to spiral outward, creating cascading chains of possibility. A single action, a choice to speak or remain silent, to step forward or turn away, unfolds into ripples that touch countless versions of the world, subtly altering paths and echoes. The cartographer follows these chains patiently, tracing the curves and loops of consequences that fold back upon themselves. The maps become living documents, their lines and spirals bending like soft currents, capturing the interplay of moments across dimensions and preserving the resonance of decisions as they ripple through time. Even sound behaves differently in these distorted timelines. Voices, laughter, and footsteps carry across folds, overlapping yet remaining distinct, creating a quiet symphony of events that exist simultaneously yet separately. A song may begin in one moment and end in another. A laugh may echo backward into the past, while drifting forward into a future that has not yet come. The cartographer listens, letting the quill follow the gentle rhythm, recording the harmony of these temporal anomalies with soft, deliberate strokes. Each mark preserves not only the event itself, but the subtle resonance of its echoes across space and time. And sometimes the cartographer encounters intersections so intricate that multiple realities fold together almost seamlessly. A hero may meet themselves in a quiet glade. A castle may appear both ruined and intact. A river may carry reflections of skies from distant worlds. The traveler moves slowly through these intersections, noting the patterns, capturing the resonance, and honoring the delicate balance that allows such moments to exist. The maps expand, curling and folding to accommodate a complex layering of time, becoming both a record and a meditation on the infinite fluidity of existence. Through all of this, the cartographer moves with gentle patience, fully aware that time is not rigid, but alive, breathing softly through each fold of the multiverse. Every step is measured, every observation reverent, and every line traced with care. The distorted timelines are not merely anomalies to be cataloged. They are living, breathing stories, soft echoes of what was, what might have been, and what quietly persists in the infinite tapestry of possibility. And as the cartographer continues, they carry with them the understanding that these timelines, fragile and complex, are just one layer of the multiverse's endless song, a song that whispers softly of worlds yet to be explored. As the cartographer ventures even deeper into the labyrinth of distorted timelines, the boundaries between cause and effect grow increasingly fluid. Here, a single gesture may echo backward and forward simultaneously, folding moments together in quiet, intricate patterns. A young hero might pause at a crossroads, and in the ripple of that hesitation, entire villages are subtly reshaped, rivers diverted, forests slightly repositioned. Each fold carries the faint resonance of a life not fully lived, a choice not fully made, and the cartographer observes with a careful, reverent patience, tracing the soft, spiraling lines of possibility on their ever-expanding map. Some of these worlds appear frozen at first glance, yet closer observation reveals movement that defies ordinary perception. A castle may stand empty, yet shadows traverse its halls in gentle loops, performing acts that belong to histories never realized. In a quiet garden, flowers bloom and wither in a rhythm that overlaps centuries, petals falling in some folds while standing perfect in others. The cartographer moves with deliberate care, allowing the quill to follow the subtle pulses of existence, capturing the interplay of moments without forcing order, preserving the delicate balance of the world themselves. In other spaces, echoes of familiar figures drift across multiple timelines, each version slightly altered yet recognizably the same. A princess may appear as a child in one fold, as a ruler in another, and quietly moving between roles in yet another. Heroes may hesitate, act, or vanish entirely, leaving soft imprints upon the land that ripple outward in ways imperceptible to any but the most attentive observer. The cartographer traces these presences with gentle reverence, understanding that each iteration holds equal significance, and that the beauty of these distorted timelines lies not in resolution, but in the quiet dance of infinite possibilities. Rivers and streams act as temporal guides, carrying reflections of multiple skies simultaneously. In some folds, water flows backward. In others, it twists upon itself, tracing impossible loops across hills, forests, and valleys. Fish swim in patterns that mirror moments elsewhere, while reeds sway in gentle synchrony with choices yet to occur. The cartographer follows these currents carefully, letting the map grow organically in response to the subtle rhythm of time, recording not merely form, but the resonance of events, the quiet heartbeat of realities in flux. Even the air feels different here, alive with faint vibrations of past, present, and future. Breaths of wind carry laughter from children who exist only in certain folds. The hum of conversation that may have occurred differently, or the soft sighs of beings who paused at choices they never completed. The cartographer inhales deeply, letting the quill respond to the faint currents of possibility, drawing lines that ripple like the echoes themselves, capturing the infinite layers of temporal resonance with slow, deliberate care. Some folds are so delicate that they almost vanish when observed directly, shimmering like heat waves over distant hills. A town may appear briefly, its inhabitants moving in perfect harmony before dissolving into the mist of another fold. A bridge may rise, complete with footsteps and shadows, only to flicker and shift into a different version of itself. The cartographer watches patiently, never rushing, understanding that the act of attention itself can shift these fragile worlds. The maps become living documents, responsive to the quiet pulse of existence, reflecting the gentle complexity of a multiverse where time is not rigid, but fluid, alive, and deeply resonant. In certain moments, the cartographer perceives temporal intersections so intricate that multiple realities seem to converge for a single, fleeting heartbeat. A hero may meet themselves from another fold, their gaze catching a reflection of paths not taken. A castle may exist both as ruin and splendor. A river may flow in multiple directions simultaneously, and shadows may trace their movements across overlapping landscapes. The cartographer allows the quill to follow these intersections softly, capturing their delicate resonance while honoring the harmony that allows such moments to persist without collapsing into chaos. Sound behaves in extraordinary ways in these distorted timelines. Voices, laughter, and footsteps carry across folds, overlapping yet remaining distinct, creating a symphony of temporal echoes. A song may begin in one fold, finish in another, and repeat in yet a third, each note slightly altered but harmoniously entwined. The cartographer listens carefully, letting the quill follow the rhythm, recording the subtle music of time, capturing the beauty of existence in its most fluid form. Every mark is deliberate, a soft acknowledgement of the infinite variations of life that ripple across dimensions. Through all of this, the cartographer moves with slow, deliberate patience, a quiet observer and gentle chronicler of worlds that twist and fold around themselves. Each step is careful, each observation reverent, and each line traced with intent. The distorted timelines are not anomalies to be corrected or controlled. They are living, breathing stories, infinitely complex, fragile, and beautiful. They exist in the multiverse's quiet heartbeat, and through the cartographer's gentle mapping, they are preserved, acknowledged, and celebrated in all their intricate, overlapping wonder. And so the cartographer continues, moving through looping forests, spiraling rivers, and overlapping valleys, tracing the rhythm of moments both lived and unlived. Every line, every curve, every spiral is a meditation, a lullaby whispered softly to the heart of time itself. Through their careful observation, the infinite dance of possibility is preserved, and the quiet, gentle song of the distorted timelines becomes part of the cartographer's map, a soft, endless echo that guides the journey into the next layer of reality, toward worlds that never ended, where stories persist quietly beyond closure. Beyond the subtle harmonies of distorted timelines, there exist realms where stories do not conclude. These are the worlds that never ended, dimensions where events flow softly into one another, where beginnings and endings dissolve into gentle continuity. Here a hero may set out on an adventure, yet the journey never fully resolves. A princess may rule a kingdom, yet no final chapter will define her reign. Time in these worlds is not broken, nor strictly linear, but soft and endless, like a river whose current carries countless reflections, all existing quietly together. The cartographer steps slowly into these realms, aware that each observation is both fragile and infinitely expansive, and that the act of mapping here requires patience and reverence. The landscapes of these worlds are at once familiar and subtly unreal. Meadows stretch beneath skies that seem to shift imperceptibly with the passing of each moment. Trees sway in a rhythm that is neither day nor night, their leaves shimmering with echoes of countless possibilities. Villages hum gently with activity, though no one seems hurried or burdened by the usual passage of time. Children chase shadows that do not belong to them. Merchants arrange wares that are never quite sold, and musicians play melodies that linger endlessly in the air. The cartographer moves through these spaces quietly, quill tracing not only geography but the gentle resonance of perpetual motion, preserving the delicate balance of worlds that flow without conclusion. In some regions, mountains rise in soft layers, folding into valleys that seem to extend infinitely. Rivers wind lazily through these landscapes, reflecting multiple skies at once, and each bend reveals a new scene, a new story in quiet progress. Castles appear both ancient and freshly built, their towers casting long shadows that shift slowly across courtyards where moments repeat in subtle variations. The cartographer observes these shifts carefully, noting the fluid continuity without seeking to fix or define a beginning or ending. Each mark on the map captures the sense of ongoing existence, the quiet beauty of worlds where the narrative is a gentle, never-ceasing thread rather than a line with edges. Creatures in these worlds move with a calm purpose, yet their motions are almost meditative, echoing the endless unfolding of the environment around them. A fox-like being may circle a glade, following invisible patterns, while a bear wanders through a forest, pausing to listen to echoes that no other ear can detect. The cartographer observes them without interference, letting the quill follow their paths softly, capturing presence without disturbing the delicate rhythm of existence. Every gesture, every movement, is a note in the continuous melody of life in these worlds that never end, a subtle harmony woven into the fabric of reality itself. Some areas shimmer with a gentle glow as though the light itself carries memory. A river reflects not only the present sky, but the echoes of skies from countless possibilities, shimmering softly like glass over water. Flowers bloom in slow cycles, unfurling petals in endless variations, their colors shifting subtly with each passing moment. Villages seem to breathe, streets curling gently like smoke, and the laughter of inhabitants overlaps with voices that belong to other folds of reality. The cartographer moves with deliberate patience, tracing each subtle pattern, ensuring that the maps preserve the ongoing resonance of these infinite, continuous lives. In these worlds, the very air seems to hum with quiet persistence. Breezes carry faint whispers of stories that have no end, tales of heroes who never reach a conclusion, of kingdoms that evolve without resolution, and of friendships that extend endlessly, folding into new experiences without closure. The cartographer inhales slowly, feeling the soft pulse of existence in each breath, allowing the quill to follow the gentle rhythm of events, tracing the harmony of life in constant motion. The maps are not merely records, they are lullabies, gentle acknowledgments of worlds that flow without finality, preserving the quiet, ceaseless song of reality in ink and line. There are places here where light bends unusually, illuminating paths that loop softly through time without repetition. A castle perched on a hill may exist simultaneously in many states, its halls filled with echoes of laughter, conversation, and quiet reflection. A hero may traverse corridors, leaving footprints that overlap with traces from earlier journeys, each iteration slightly different, yet all equally significant. The cartographer moves slowly, capturing the interplay of moments, allowing each line to record not just space, but the resonance of infinite, ongoing narratives. And within these worlds, the concept of an ending feels irrelevant. A festival may persist indefinitely in a village square, with participants continually arriving and departing in cycles that carry the weight of countless stories. A river may meander endlessly, reflecting skies that change imperceptibly with every pass. A forest may shift subtly as new paths appear while others vanish, and creatures wander through these changes without concern, guided by instincts that sense the gentle continuity of existence. The cartographer observes all with calm patience, recording the soft flow of life, aware that in these worlds, the journey itself is the story, and the story has no conclusion. Even the skies in these worlds are reflective of their endless nature. Clouds drift slowly in ever-changing patterns, casting shadows that stretch and curl across valleys and meadows, blending past, present, and possibility into a soft, ongoing tapestry. Stars shimmer faintly, reflecting events that ripple gently through the endless progression of time. The cartographer tilts the map slightly, allowing the quill to capture the subtle angles of light, the curvature of hills, and the flow of rivers in ways that honor the eternal nature of these realms. Every mark becomes part of a meditation on continuity, a recognition that existence in these worlds is a gentle, ceaseless song that never needs closure. As the cartographer moves deeper into the worlds that never ended, the continuity of these realms becomes even more apparent. Every step reveals layers of existence, softly overlapping, yet never chaotic. A village street may be bustling with morning activity in one fold, while the same street is bathed in the gentle glow of twilight in another. Shopkeepers move through their routines, villagers pause to exchange greetings, and children run along paths that loop endlessly, their laughter intertwining with echoes from countless iterations. The cartographer walks slowly among them, quill poised to follow the soft, overlapping rhythm of life, tracing the subtle currents that connect each moment without forcing a linear path. There are forests in which trees bend gracefully, their branches weaving intricate patterns in the air. Leaves shimmer faintly, reflecting glimpses of events that may or may not have happened, and small animals move through the undergrowth with quiet purpose, aware of a world that flows without end. The cartographer observes these movements with patience, following the paths of creatures and patterns of foliage alike. Each line drawn upon the map is a meditation, capturing the soft continuity of existence, recording the resonance of a life in motion, and honoring the infinite interplay of possibility that defines these worlds. Castles rise gently atop hills, their towers reflecting both present and past forms. Courtyards echo with faint footsteps of those who have passed and those who have yet to arrive. Courtiers may pause mid-gesture, caught between iterations, yet the scene feels natural, fluid, and calm. The cartographer circles the structure slowly, mapping the layers of existence with a reverent hand. Every window, archway, and corridor is traced, capturing the essence of ongoing narrative without imposing finality. The very act of observation becomes a quiet lullaby, a gentle acknowledgement that life here is not measured in endings, but in perpetual unfolding. Rivers in these realms flow in soft, winding patterns that embrace gentle unpredictability. Water reflects multiple skies at once, rippling with memories of storms and sunlit days that never fully conclude. Along the banks, the traces of footsteps and paw prints from countless visitors linger, some fading to new paths, others repeated in cycles that feel as natural as breathing. The cartographer traces these flows carefully, capturing the interplay of movement and reflection, understanding that each ripple carries significance, a quiet story interwoven with every other thread of existence. In some corners, faint echoes of events from other dimensions blend seamlessly with the ongoing life of the world. A festival may shimmer with memories of celebrations from distant realities, the music of one village harmonizing with the laughter of another. Children play alongside echoes of themselves, tracing patterns that diverge ever so slightly, yet remain connected through an unseen rhythm. The cartographer notes these subtle resonances, allowing the quill to capture the delicate layering without forcing separation. The map grows like a living document, breathing in harmony with the eternal flow of these realms, recording resonance instead of rigid chronology. Creatures here exist with a quiet awareness of the endless continuity around them. A fox wanders between fields and forests, pausing to observe flowers that bloom indefinitely, petals opening and closing in soft, repetitive rhythms. Birds glide through the skies, their flight paths weaving through multiple iterations of the day, while their calls echo across valleys that exist simultaneously in countless folds. The cartographer follows these paths with patience, tracing the curves and intersections with the quill, allowing the movement to guide the mapping, capturing the gentle heartbeat of life that flows without pause or conclusion. Even structures that appear abandoned seem alive in subtle ways. A tower may lean slightly, not as a sign of decay, but as part of its soft evolution over time. Windows glimmer with reflected light from other dimensions, and doors open into corridors that fold endlessly upon themselves. The cartographer moves carefully, mindful that even the smallest observation can shift the delicate balance. Every line, curve, and stroke of ink honors the ongoing existence of these spaces, tracing not just form, but the quiet persistence of life and story endlessly unfolding. In open meadows, rivers of flowers stretch across the landscape, petals shifting color in patterns that ripple softly like water. Butterflies drift lazily, wings brushing over surfaces that shimmer with traces of infinite narratives. The cartographer walks slowly among them, quill hovering, following the gentle flow of growth and change. The maps themselves seem to respond to this harmony, pages curling slightly at the edges as if breathing along with the gentle pulse of these worlds that never end. And as the cartographer continues, the understanding deepens. These worlds are not bound by beginnings or conclusions. Life flows perpetually, narratives intertwine without end, and each moment carries the resonance of countless others. Here, existence itself is a lullaby, a soft, continuous song that carries the beauty of stories unbroken, waiting to be traced, acknowledged, and gently preserved. As the cartographer ventures further, the endless continuity of these worlds becomes increasingly tangible. In one valley, a small village stretches across hills that fold softly upon themselves, and yet each iteration of the village coexists in harmony. Market stalls are arranged slightly differently in each layer, yet the overall rhythm of life remains fluid and serene. Children run along paths that weave in and out of multiple realities, their laughter overlapping like gentle echoes. The cartographer observes quietly, letting the quill trace the delicate web of interactions, noting how even the smallest gestures carry a soft resonance across multiple iterations. Each stroke preserves the subtle interplay of existence, acknowledging both presence and possibility. Rivers here move in gentle, undulating loops, curving through meadows and forests in patterns that feel both natural and impossible. Water reflects the skies from multiple folds of reality, shimmering with colors that belong to moments not fully lived. Along their banks, footprints appear and fade, some overlapping across folds, others unique to a single timeline. The cartographer moves alongside these rivers, following the current of continuity with a measured patience, capturing not only the shape of the landscape, but the rhythm of life flowing through it. Each line is a meditation, a soft acknowledgement of the perpetual unfolding that defines these worlds. In the open fields, creatures drift between layers of reality, aware in ways too subtle for ordinary perception. A fox slips between folds of space, its fur catching glimpses of past and future glades, while birds sing songs that overlap in time, creating melodies that ripple gently across the valleys. Flowers bloom and wither in cycles that exist both in the present and across other folds of reality. The cartographer watches them patiently, allowing the quill to follow their motion, tracing paths that intertwine without end. Every movement, every pulse of life is recorded with reverence, acknowledging the infinite harmony of existence in these perpetual realms. Castles appear atop gentle hills, their towers glowing faintly in light that shifts continuously. Courtyards bustle softly with figures who never age, moving through ceremonies and daily routines that unfold endlessly. A princess may walk the halls, pausing to speak with a companion who exists in a parallel fold, while the echoes of previous and future interactions drift through the air like faint music. The cartographer moves carefully, noting the subtle variations in gesture, expression, and movement. Each detail is significant, a thread in the delicate tapestry of endless story, and every mark on the map preserves not only the physical form, but the quiet resonance of unending narrative. In some valleys, the interplay of light and shadow creates shifting illusions, revealing glimpses of infinite possibilities coexisting seamlessly. How trees may appear simultaneously young and ancient, rivers both rushing and still, and pathways may twist into loops that carry travelers on gentle spirals through space. The cartographer traces these patterns with the quill, following the soft undulations of reality, recording the harmony of multiple layers without attempting to impose a single interpretation. Each page becomes a meditation, a careful acknowledgement that in these worlds life is continuous, flowing, and infinitely intricate. Even the skies reflect the endlessness below. Clouds drift slowly, overlapping in layers that stretch across multiple iterations of the day. Sunsets blend seamlessly into dawns, and stars shimmer faintly, reflecting moments from other folds of reality. The cartographer tilts the map to capture these angles, allowing the quill to follow the soft curves of light and shadow. Every stroke preserves the gentle interplay of temporal and spatial harmony, recording the delicate continuity of worlds that have no conclusion. In villages and forests, small stories repeat without end. A child may chase a butterfly, and the butterfly may appear to dance in the air forever, tracing invisible paths across multiple folds of space. A musician may play a tune that never ceases, each note slightly different, overlapping with melodies from parallel iterations. The cartographer captures these scenes patiently, aware that the beauty of these worlds lies in their ceaselessness, the quiet flow of narrative that never resolves but continues softly like a lullaby that hums into the nights. And within these continuous realms there is a profound sense of presence. Every life, every gesture, every echo of action is preserved in delicate balance. No moment is lost, no story truly ends, and every iteration resonates gently with all the others. The cartographer moves slowly, tracing the interconnected threads with ink that seems to float over the page, preserving not only form but the gentle, perpetual pulse of existence. Each line is a quiet celebration of worlds that never ended, of stories that flow like soft rivers through infinite landscapes, and of lives that exist in delicate, ongoing harmony. As the cartographer pauses atop a softly rolling hill, gazing across valleys, rivers, and forests that stretch endlessly into the horizon, a sense of quiet wonder fills the air. The realization comes that these worlds are not broken, nor are they incomplete. They exist in a state of perfect, perpetual resonance. Time does not govern them. Life flows freely, endlessly, gently. And the cartographer, quill in hand, becomes both witness and guardian, tracing the soft contours of infinite story, preserving the lullaby of existence that never requires conclusion. Here in the worlds that never ended, the boundaries between moments, lives, and choices blur into a gentle, continuous tapestry. Each step, each breath, each quiet observation is a meditation upon the infinite beauty of unending existence. And through the careful mapping of these realms, the cartographer ensures that the soft harmony of life, flowing, eternal, and unbroken, remains recorded in delicate ink, ready to be discovered, observed, and gently remembered by any who wander through these infinite, timeless lands. As the cartographer wanders through these perpetual realms, it becomes clear that endings are neither necessary nor desired. Every corner of the world, every winding path, every quiet village exists in a gentle, continuous state, where life unfolds like a soft river flowing without a destination. In some fields, flowers bloom endlessly, their petals opening and closing in a rhythm that never ceases. A child chases a butterfly across a meadow, and in another fold of reality, that same child pauses to watch the butterfly land, only to begin again, over and over, without a single conclusion. The cartographer observes with reverent patience, tracing these cycles carefully, allowing the quill to capture both action and echo, preserving the subtle harmony that defines these worlds. Forests stretch endlessly, trees arching gracefully into the sky, their branches weaving soft lattices that bend light in quiet, mesmerizing patterns. Birds sing continuously, yet each note exists in multiple folds of reality, overlapping without collision. Streams flow gently through the woods, carrying reflections from countless moments, some already past, some yet to come. Small animals wander freely along these paths, pausing only to drink, to play, to rest, as though aware of the gentle, eternal cadence that guides the land. The cartographer follows each movement with delicate care, ensuring that the map captures not just the physical layout, but the rhythm, the pulse, the quiet persistence of endless life. Castles rise above hills in gentle majesty, their spires both ancient and new, reflecting the soft layering of infinite timeline. Courtyards echo with quiet activity. A princess converses with companions who exist in multiple folds. A knight patrols endlessly. A bard practices music whose notes ripple across the air in infinite variations. The cartographer moves slowly through these spaces, noting gestures, expressions, and the subtle shifts that occur when multiple realities coexist simultaneously. The quill follows the harmony of these overlapping moments, recording the resonance of perpetual story, where no chapter is ever truly complete, yet every moment is rich with meaning. Rivers carve their winding paths through valleys and meadows, looping softly in impossible yet natural patterns. Water reflects skies from countless folds of reality, shifting and shimmering with every ripple. Along the banks, footprints appear and fade, some repeated across layers, others unique to a single iteration. The cartographer walks beside these waters, tracing their curves and bends with patient attention, capturing the gentle flow of continuity. Each mark on the map is a quiet acknowledgement of the ongoing rhythm of life, preserving the delicate balance of worlds where story never ceases. In certain glades, light bends in unusual ways, illuminating spaces that exist simultaneously in multiple moments. A festival may unfold endlessly, with villagers arriving and departing, laughter overlapping across folds of time. Music drifts softly through the air, harmonizing with echoes of melodies from other iterations. Children play along shifting pathways, leaving traces that exist in multiple layers without contradiction. The cartographer records these gentle overlaps, the soft interplay of presence and resonance, aware that these worlds' beauty lies not in resolution, but in perpetual, harmonious unfolding. Even creatures themselves reflect the quiet, ceaseless rhythm of these realms. A fox moves through forests, appearing simultaneously in different folds, aware only of the gentle progression of life. Birds swoop across skies that are themselves reflections of multiple times, their calls weaving together in soft symphonies that span the folds. Deer pause to drink at rivers that flow endlessly. Leaves rustle in gentle breezes that echo across layers of existence. The cartographer observes patiently, letting the quill follow the soft, continuous flow of motion, preserving the delicate music of life that exists without beginning or end. Structures, too, seem alive in subtle ways. Towers rise and fall gently. Doors open into corridors that stretch endlessly, and windows reflect not only light, but the echoes of events from countless layers of reality. The cartographer moves carefully through these spaces, understanding that observation is itself an act of reverence. Each line traced is a soft acknowledgement of the continuity of existence, capturing both form and resonance, preserving the essence of worlds that quietly, gracefully, and infinitely persist. Across open meadows, rivers of flowers bloom in continuous waves, their colors shifting subtly with the rhythm of endless time. Butterflies drift lazily, wings brushing across petals that themselves exist in multiple folds of reality. The cartographer moves among them slowly, quill poised to follow the gentle flow, capturing the patterns, the harmony, the soft, ceaseless pulse of existence. The maps themselves respond to this rhythm, pages curling and breathing subtly, reflecting the perpetual motion of worlds without end. And as the cartographer pauses atop a softly rolling hill, gazing across valleys, rivers, forests, and villages that stretch endlessly into the horizon, a profound realization settles into their mind. These worlds are not incomplete or broken. They are perfect in their ceaseless continuity. Time does not dictate them. Life flows freely, softly, infinitely. The cartographer, quill in hand, becomes both witness and guardian, tracing the contours of infinite story, preserving the quiet, gentle lullaby of existence that never requires a conclusion. In these worlds that never ended, beginnings and endings blur, past and future intertwine, and each moment holds a delicate resonance of all that has been and all that quietly persists. Life flows perpetually. Narratives intertwine endlessly, and every observation carries the weight of reverence. The cartographer's work is not to finish or to conclude, but to acknowledge, to preserve, and to honor the infinite beauty of stories that continue quietly, softly, without ever truly ending. Here in the soft glow of perpetual existence, the cartographer writes, tracing every ripple of life, every echo of choice, every gentle bend of reality. Every line becomes a meditation, every mark a lullaby, every page a testament to the quiet, unending song of worlds that never ended, where life, story, and possibility flow endlessly, softly, beautifully, into infinity. As the cartographer continues their quiet journey, they begin to notice that the spaces between worlds hold their own subtle wonders. These are not the familiar valleys, forests, or rivers of a single reality, but the gentle, liminal corridors that stretch softly between dimensions. Here, time itself seems to breathe differently. Moments fold gently over one another, and the soft echoes of countless possibilities shimmer like distant starlight. The cartographer steps carefully, aware that these interstitial spaces are delicate, fragile, and yet filled with profound resonance. In these quiet corridors, the boundaries between realities blur. Faint impressions of events from other dimensions linger in the air like a soft mist, and the cartographer can sense choices that were made in one world but reverberate in another. A fallen leaf in one reality may drift through the air here, carrying with it a faint memory of the wind that carried it elsewhere. A shadow of a hero's gesture stretches across folds of existence, paused mid-motion as if waiting to be observed. The quill traces the subtle contours of these echoes, capturing not only the form of the space, but the whispers of countless narratives that exist between the worlds. Some passages appear as softly glowing tunnels, lined with the faint impressions of multiple realities pressed against one another. Each surface shimmers with subtle reflections. A castle that exists slightly differently in every fold, a river twisting in impossible patterns, a forest that bends and loops like a gentle spiral. The cartographer moves slowly, quill following the gentle undulations of these passages, recording the traces of worlds that do not fully exist in any single form, yet are as real as the lands they connect. Every line is deliberate, each stroke a meditation upon the quiet harmony of the multiverse, preserving the delicate balance of these spaces that hold secrets without ever revealing all of them. Occasionally, figures appear in these in-between spaces, ethereal and almost intangible. A princess might wander briefly, her footsteps echoing softly, while in another fold she exists entirely elsewhere, unaware of this soft reflection of herself. Heroes may pause, their gestures mirrored faintly across dimensions, or companions might appear as gentle shadows, moving in subtle synchrony. The cartographer observes without interference, understanding that these presences are part of the multiverse's quiet heartbeat, delicate signals of existence that carry the weight of infinite possibility. The quill follows, tracing the faint outlines of these beings with gentle reverence, preserving their resonance without attempting to fix or define them. Here the air itself hums softly with the accumulation of choices, the gentle weaving of events, and the faint echoes of stories both begun and unfinished. Every breath seems infused with the quiet memory of decisions made in other worlds. A whispered conversation from a distant fold may linger here for a moment, folding softly into another sound until the cartographer leans close enough to sense the subtle harmony. The act of mapping these spaces is less about accuracy and more about attunement, listening, feeling, and preserving the quiet essence of existence that thrives between realities. In certain corridors, light refracts strangely, revealing layers that are normally invisible. A tree may cast multiple shadows, each belonging to a different fold of reality. A mountain may appear simultaneously whole and crumbled, and rivers reflect not only their current paths, but the echoes of journeys taken in other worlds. The cartographer's hand moves slowly, following these soft distortions, tracing each curve, each reflection, with quiet mindfulness. The map begins to feel alive, pages curling slightly as though breathing with the interwoven life of countless realities, capturing not just place, but the soft rhythm of existence itself. Some secrets between realities are subtle enough to almost escape notice. A faint path may appear only when observed from a certain angle, carrying the soft imprint of travelers who exist elsewhere. Sounds of laughter, conversation, or music may drift like soft fog, carrying stories that never fully unfolded in their original worlds. The cartographer leans into these whispers, quill gliding to capture their essence, aware that these fragile imprints are as vital as any solid landform. They are the quiet threads that connect worlds, the gentle currents that carry meaning from one fold to another. And yet, the more the cartographer observes, the more they realize that these secrets are not meant to be fully understood or controlled. They are delicate, living things, existing in a balance between presence and absence, between being and potential. The quill moves with care, tracing faint lines that shimmer softly on the page, each stroke a soft acknowledgement of existence without imposition. Every path, shadow, and echo is recorded with reverence, allowing the multiverse's subtle secrets to persist without disturbance, like a lullaby whispered in a space between dreams. Even time behaves differently here. A single heartbeat may stretch across folds, carrying echoes backward and forward simultaneously. A gesture may reverberate through multiple realities, creating soft patterns that are visible only when observed patiently. The cartographer moves slowly, attuned to these rhythms, quill following the gentle undulations, capturing the quiet music of existence. Each line becomes part of a meditation on possibility, a soft acknowledgement of the delicate, infinite dance of lives, choices, and worlds that coexist in the spaces between reality. As the cartographer continues to move through these liminal corridors, they begin to notice subtler patterns emerging, faint threads that tie one reality to another. Shadows of events ripple gently across these spaces, moments that never fully occurred but still leave soft impressions upon the air. A hero's gesture may echo here long after it has ended in their own world, while a companion's smile lingers across folds of time that never converge fully. The cartographer's quill follows these patterns with tender patience, tracing not only the shape of the corridors, but the resonance of every fleeting choice, every whisper of life that drifts quietly through the in-between. Some areas feel almost like mirrors, reflecting possibilities that exist nowhere else. A river may shimmer with images of moments that never happen, a leaf floating upstream, a bridge built and destroyed in rapid succession, a child laughing at a game that was never played. The cartographer leans close to capture these delicate illusions, drawing them softly upon the page. Each line becomes an acknowledgement that even the unrealized has weight. Oh, that every potential ripple contributes to the gentle melody of the multiverse. The maps themselves respond to this subtle energy, ink seeming to breathe as it captures the quiet essence of impermanence and possibility. In other passages, soft sounds of existence drift like fog, layering upon one another in a symphony of faint echoes. Footsteps, laughter, whispered words, and melodies all intertwine across folds, overlapping without clashing. A princess hums a tune in one fold, while in another a hero whistles a refrain that echoes backward into the first. The cartographer listens, quill poised, tracing these harmonies with care. Each mark captures not only motion and shape, but the gentle rhythm of life, the soft pulse of choices flowing endlessly through the quiet spaces between worlds. Sometimes beings appear here in forms that are both familiar and strange. A companion may drift partially transparent, moving through a corridor as if guided by memory rather than will. A hero might appear twice, once in a shadowed reflection, and once fully formed, each instance carrying fragments of distinct decisions. The cartographer observes silently, never interfering, allowing the quill to follow the delicate outline of existence. Each stroke becomes a meditation, a quiet acknowledgement of lives lived in both presence and echo, of stories that resonate softly between the folds of reality. Even landscapes themselves seem alive in these. Hills shift subtly. Rivers bend in gentle arcs that defy ordinary geometry, and forests twist in soft spirals that fold back upon themselves. Light refracts in ways that reveal overlapping skies, casting shadows that belong simultaneously to multiple dimensions. The cartographer moves slowly, following these flows, noting each curve, each shift, and each resonance. Every mark upon the map is a tribute to the fragile elegance of worlds that exist in between, delicate tapestries of life, choice, and quiet possibility. Sometimes the cartographer pauses to observe patterns that are almost too subtle to perceive. A leaf drifting through one corridor may contain echoes of entire forests elsewhere. A single droplet of water may reflect multiple skies, countless suns and moons from distant folds of time. The quill moves in harmony with these tiny revelations, tracing soft loops and arcs that honor the interconnectedness of existence. Even the smallest details carry significance, and the careful observation of them becomes a meditation, a gentle act of reverence for the infinite complexity of the multiverse. In these spaces, the passage of time is unlike anything familiar. A single breath may encompass the span of years, or a single glance may reveal centuries compressed into a moment. Choices ripple outward softly, intersecting in subtle ways that may only be observed after patient attention. The cartographer follows these currents carefully, allowing the quill to capture both the flow and the resonance, preserving the secrets of moments that exist between moments. lives that exist between lives, and realities that hover softly between the known and the possible. The deeper the cartographer moves, the more they understand the quiet wisdom of these interstitial spaces. They are not anomalies to be corrected, nor mysteries to be solved. They are the gentle threads that connect all worlds, the soft harmonies that allow stories, choices, and lives to resonate beyond their immediate boundaries. To map them requires patience, reverence, and a stillness of mind, an awareness that even the faintest echo is meaningful, and that each moment, no matter how fleeting, leaves a mark upon the multiverse. And so the cartographer continues, moving through the corridors that shimmer with possibility, listening to the whispers of unmade choices, tracing the subtle patterns of lives lived and unlived. Every step, every observation, every careful mark upon the map becomes a soft acknowledgement of existence itself, a quiet testament to the secrets that lie between realities, the hidden harmonies that shape the infinite, and the gentle, ceaseless song of worlds that are never truly alone. As the cartographer continues through these liminal spaces, a profound understanding begins to emerge. The secrets between realities are not hidden in plain sight, nor are they locked behind barriers. Instead, they exist quietly, layered gently between the folds of worlds, revealed only to those who observe with patience and reverence. A falling leaf from one reality may drift into another, a single word spoken may echo across countless dimensions, and a fleeting gesture may resonate endlessly, leaving a faint impression that the cartographer can trace delicately with their quill. Each observation is a meditation, a soft acknowledgement that existence itself is intertwined, fluid, and perpetually in motion. Some corridors pulse with a strange, almost musical energy. Faint harmonies, barely audible, carry the memory of decisions made and not made. A hero may hesitate, pause, or step forward, and the subtle ripples of that choice drift across realities like a quiet tune played on invisible strings. The cartographer follows these vibrations carefully, allowing the quill to trace their delicate patterns. Every mark becomes a testament to the quiet connectivity of life, a recognition that even the smallest choices have resonance beyond the immediate moment, shaping worlds that may never fully intersect, but still influence one another softly, invisibly, and endlessly. In other areas, light behaves in ways that defy expectation. It bends and curves, revealing glimpses of overlapping realities. A castle may shimmer in several forms at once, reflecting different ages, rulers, or outcomes. A river may flow in multiple directions, each current carrying subtle echoes of actions that occurred elsewhere. The cartographer moves slowly, tracing these phenomena with care. Each curve, each reflection, each subtle distortion is mapped with reverence, capturing the hidden architecture of existence, the soft scaffolding upon which countless realities rest. Sometimes beings drift through these spaces, existing in forms that are ethereal yet tangible. A companion may move partially transparent, walking softly across folds of existence, leaving faint trails that shimmer briefly in the cartographer's map. A hero may appear twice, once fully and once as a shadow, each presence carrying fragments of alternate choices and experiences. The cartographer observes quietly, allowing the quill to follow these gentle, ghost-like movements, capturing not only form but resonance, preserving the subtle music of lives lived across layers of reality without imposing a narrative or conclusion. Small details hold extraordinary significance. A single footprint may echo across folds of space, leaving traces of multiple journeys at once. A discarded leaf may carry the shadow of a conversation from another reality. A ripple in a pond may reflect moments that have already passed, or moments yet to arrive, all folding gently into the soft rhythm of the multiverse. The cartographer traces each of these signs carefully, allowing the ink to preserve the delicate flow of existence, a testament to the interconnectedness of all things and the quiet, unseen influences that shape every world. Even time behaves differently here. Moments fold upon themselves, layering infinitely without collapsing. A gesture may echo backward and forward simultaneously. A glance may carry centuries of unspoken dialogue. Choices ripple outward softly, intersecting in ways that are gentle yet profound. The cartographer moves with deliberate patience, quill following the curves and folds of existence, capturing the subtle interplay of events, actions, and potentialities. Each line is a meditation, a quiet acknowledgement that these spaces between realities are alive, delicate, and profoundly meaningful. The secrets between realities are not chaotic. They are composed with a subtle order, a gentle harmony that balances presence and absence, form and possibility. The cartographer begins to sense the quiet intelligence behind these spaces, a pattern too intricate to see at once, yet softly perceptible when observed patiently. Each echo, each shadow, each faint glimmer of a choice or a gesture contributes to a vast, unseen melody, a lullaby of infinite lives, quietly intertwined across folds of reality. Some corridors shimmer with impossible geometry. Hallways bend upon themselves. Doors lead to spaces that exist simultaneously here and elsewhere, and windows frame views of worlds that never fully intersect. The cartographer steps lightly, aware that observation itself is an act of respect. Each mark upon the map is a gentle acknowledgement, a meditation upon the infinite subtlety of life and choice. The maps become living documents, breathing softly with the pulse of the multiverse, recording not only space, but the quiet resonance of possibilities, of stories uncompleted, of lives that echo eternally. And within these corridors, the cartographer begins to feel a sense of intimacy with existence itself. Every echo, every shadow, every subtle shimmer is a whisper of life, carrying both meaning and mystery. The quill follows these whispers, tracing soft loops, arcs, and patterns that honor the delicate dance of being and possibility. It is here, between realities, that the cartographer fully comprehends the beauty of impermanence, the quiet significance of choice, and the profound truth that even unobserved lives leave gentle ripples across the fabric of existence. Through careful observation and quiet reflection, the cartographer comes to understand that these interstitial spaces are not merely connections. They are the essence of the multiverse's memory. They preserve the echoes of worlds that exist side by side, never colliding yet never truly separate. They carry the resonance of choices, the weight of lives, and the soft music of existence itself. Every line traced, every subtle detail noted, is a meditation, a gentle act of guardianship, ensuring that the secrets between realities remain alive, shimmering softly for those who are patient enough to notice. In these moments, the cartographer becomes part of the subtle rhythm they observe. Each step, each breath, each careful mark upon the map aligns with the gentle pulse of the multiverse. There is no rush, no urgency, only a quiet attunement to the whispers, echoes, and harmonies that flow endlessly through these spaces. Every observation is both an act of preservation and a meditation on the delicate beauty of existence, a soft lullaby for worlds that continue quietly between the folds of reality. And so the cartographer continues, moving slowly, deliberately, reverently, tracing the delicate, intricate, and infinitely subtle secrets that dwell between realities. Each path, each echo, each soft shimmer is recorded with gentle care, ensuring that the quiet song of existence, full of possibility, resonance, and the gentle interweaving of lives, is preserved in ink, ready to be discovered, contemplated, and remembered by anyone willing to wander quietly through the hidden corridors of the multiverse. As the cartographer lingers in these gentle corridors, a quiet awareness begins to settle. The secrets between realities are not anomalies or errors. They are the subtle connective tissue that binds the multiverse together. Each echo of a gesture, each shadow of a choice, each faint shimmer of a life barely lived carries weight, resonance, and significance. In observing them, the cartographer does not impose order or control, but rather honors the delicate flow of infinite possibilities. The quill moves with reverence, tracing these interwoven threads with careful, meditative precision, recording the harmony that exists in the spaces where worlds brush softly against one another. Sometimes the corridors themselves seem to hum, vibrating with faint energy that is almost musical in quality. A leaf drifting through the air may carry the faint echo of a decision made elsewhere. A ripple in a pond may reflect the trace of a conversation that never reached its conclusion. The cartographer follows these vibrations carefully, tracing them on the map with slow, deliberate strokes. Each line captures not only form, but the subtle pulse of the multiverse, the quiet rhythm that exists between lives, between choices, and between worlds that never fully touch, yet remain intimately connected. In some spaces, time itself folds into gentle loops. A moment may repeat, not exactly, but with slight variations, creating a soft resonance that overlaps across realities. A hero's steps may echo backward while simultaneously moving forward. A companion's smile may linger in one fold while shifting in another, and a melody may weave through multiple dimensions without ever fully concluding. The cartographer traces these loops with careful attention, allowing the quill to capture the elegance of repetition without rigidity, honoring the flowing, living structure of existence. Every stroke is a meditation on impermanence, choice, and the quiet beauty of continuity. Figures that appear in these interstitial spaces are often both familiar and ethereal. A princess may drift through one corridor, half transparent, while in another fold she exists fully, performing a gesture that mirrors the first, yet diverges slightly. A hero may appear as a shadow in one layer and fully in another, each carrying fragments of experiences that belong simultaneously to multiple realities. The cartographer observes patiently, allowing the quill to follow these soft, spectral movements. Each mark becomes a quiet acknowledgement of lives lived and unlived, of choices made and deferred, and of the delicate music of existence that flows endlessly between realities. Even the landscapes themselves seem conscious in subtle ways. Forests curve and spiral softly. Rivers twist gently in impossible yet harmonious patterns, and hills rise and fall with a rhythm that is both calming and infinite. Light refracts in unusual angles, revealing overlapping skies, multiple suns, and moons that coexist without conflict. The cartographer moves slowly through these spaces, tracing each curve, each shimmer, each fold, aware that every observation is part of a larger meditation on continuity, presence, and the quiet interconnection of all things. Small details often carry immense significance. A footprint may ripple softly across several realities at once. A single breeze may carry whispers of countless conversations, faint yet meaningful. A falling leaf may drift across folds of time and space, leaving impressions that are perceptible only to those who watch carefully. The cartographer records these subtleties with reverence, knowing that the quietest echoes often carry the deepest truths. Each observation is a soft acknowledgement that existence is not measured solely by action or outcome, but also by resonance, continuity, and the gentle persistence of life itself. In these corridors, the passage of time is fluid, moving in ways that are perceptible only through careful observation. Moments overlap, fold, and stretch, creating intricate patterns that defy ordinary perception. Gestures echo backward and forward simultaneously. Voices carry faint harmonics of themselves across layers of reality, and choices ripple softly through space and time. The cartographer allows the quill to follow these patterns with deliberate care, tracing the delicate curves and loops that form the subtle architecture of inter-reality existence. Each mark becomes a meditation on continuity, a soft tribute to the gentle weaving of lives, possibilities, and narratives. The more the cartographer observes, the more they understand that these spaces between realities are not random or chaotic. They are composed with an elegant, almost imperceptible order, a quiet harmony that allows stories, lives, and choices to resonate without colliding. Even the faintest echo of a decision made in one fold can influence the shape of another fold softly, gently, without disrupting the flow. The cartographer traces these interactions patiently, capturing the music of overlapping worlds, preserving the balance that allows infinite narratives to coexist without ever clashing. In moments of stillness, the cartographer realizes that these secrets between realities are a form of memory. They are the multiverse's quiet record of all that has been, all that could be, and all that persists in gentle resonance. Every echo, shadow, ripple, and shimmer is preserved in delicate equilibrium, waiting for patient observation. The quill follows these threads with reverence, each stroke a meditation, each mark a lullaby, ensuring that the hidden music of existence, the quiet pulse that flows between worlds, is captured, honored, and remembered. And so the cartographer continues, moving slowly, deliberately, reverently, through these corridors, tracing the delicate, intricate, and infinitely subtle secrets that dwell between realities. Every shadow, every echo, every faint shimmer is recorded with care, preserving the quiet song of existence. Through patient observation, gentle tracing, and soft reflection, the cartographer ensures that the hidden harmonies of the multiverse, the lives, choices, and moments that exist between worlds, remain alive, shimmering softly for those who are willing to wander carefully through the spaces between realities, listening to their subtle, endless song. Before we settle into the final stretch of our journey through the Cartographer of Realities, I'd love to know how cozy you are tonight. Are you tucked in, blankets pulled up, soft pillow under your head? Let that comfort guide you as we drift gently into the last chapter of our tale. Lights low, quiet breaths, and let's begin. After countless days and nights of wandering, tracing the infinite threads of the multiverse, the cartographer finally pauses. There is a softness in the air, a stillness that feels almost sacred. The maps lie spread before them, each page a delicate tapestry of worlds, echoes, and shadows. The ink shimmers faintly, as if reflecting the gentle pulse of the countless realities it has traced. In this moment, the cartographer leans back, quill resting lightly in hand, and allows themselves to feel the weight and the wonder of what has been observed, recorded, and preserved. The corridors between worlds, the folds of time, the overlapping shadows and echoes, all have been traced, honored, and gently acknowledged. The cartographer closes their eyes, taking in the subtle hum of existence that surrounds them. Each heartbeat, each breath, resonates with the quiet harmony of the multiverse. There is no urgency, no pressure to conclude or to finish. Everything exists in a gentle, endless rhythm, and the cartographer, for the first time, feels the profound comfort of simply being present, witnessing and resting within that infinite flow. Around them, the worlds they have mapped ripple softly. Rivers in distant folds glimmer faintly. Forests bend gently in patterns that echo across dimensions. and villages breathe with the quiet pulse of lives that exist without end. The cartographer senses these subtle movements like a gentle lullaby, a continuous song of life that neither begins nor concludes, but flows endlessly. Each mark on the map now feels alive, not as a rigid record, but as a soft reflection of existence itself, a quiet testament to the delicate balance of infinite possibilities. In this stillness, the cartographer begins to feel the resonance of every choice, every echo, every gesture they have traced. The shadows of heroes, companions, and creatures move softly across the edges of perception, like memories gently brushing the mind. A princess pauses in a courtyard, a hero's laughter drifts faintly through a valley, and the flutter of a butterfly's wings carries across multiple folds. These movements are subtle, delicate, and transient, yet the cartographer feels their full significance. They understand, in a way that requires no words, that every small action, every quiet life, contributes to the soft, unending song of the multiverse. The air itself seems to breathe with the gentle rhythm of these worlds. Light refracts across folds of space, casting soft, overlapping shadows that shimmer like distant stars. Trees lean slightly as though in repose, rivers curl and ripple in graceful arcs, and the wind carries faint, musical echoes of conversations and songs from countless realities. The cartographer, reclining now, lets their hand rest lightly on the maps, feeling the subtle hum of existence beneath their fingers. There is no need to move, to record, or to chase any more lines. This is the moment of rest, of quiet reflection, of gentle attunement to the infinite, ongoing harmony that has been traced so carefully. Even the quill seems to understand this stillness. It rests lightly beside the open pages as if in acknowledgement that observation has reached a natural pause. The cartographer closes their eyes fully, allowing the soft glow of interwoven realities to fill their senses. They feel the weight of all the stories, lives, and possibilities they have witnessed, not as a burden, but as a soft, soothing presence. Each heartbeat resonates with the echoes of choice and existence, each breath a quiet meditation upon the endless, gentle flow of time and life. For the first time in what feels like eternity, the cartographer allows themselves to step outside of observation and simply exist. There is a profound serenity in this, a deep comfort in knowing that the worlds continue undisturbed infinitely, softly, and perfectly balanced. The endless corridors between realities hum gently, the soft ripples of rivers and forests intertwining, and the faint shadows of figures drift without urgency or purpose other than to exist. The cartographer rests, attuned to this harmony, letting it wash over them in gentle waves. As they lie back, the maps spread like quiet constellations across the surface before them. The cartographer begins to see patterns they had never noticed before. Lines that once seemed separate now hum in gentle resonance. Shadows that once appeared fleeting now carry subtle melodies that echo softly across pages. The infinite intricacies of choice, gesture, and life converge into a quiet, gentle understanding that the multiverse is not only a collection of worlds, but a continuous, soft, living rhythm, and that the act of observing it is itself a lullaby. The cartographer's rest is not idle. It is a continuation of the journey in its quietest, most profound form. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of awareness is part of the mapping. They do not need to trace further lines. Their presence is now part of the resonance. Every shadow of a hero, every echo of a conversation, every ripple in a river of light is acknowledged simply by being. And in this acknowledgement, the cartographer finds peace, a gentle alignment with the quiet pulse of infinite realities, each flowing endlessly without need of resolution. As the cartographer rests, the soft hum of the multiverse surrounds them. Every fold of reality seems to breathe gently as if acknowledging their presence. The rivers ripple slowly across the pages of the maps, forests sway in patterns too subtle to see fully, and distant mountains glow faintly in the soft, overlapping light of countless skies. Even the shadows of figures once traced now drift quietly, content in their infinite repetition. The cartographer allows themselves to simply feel the resonance of these worlds, sensing the gentle pulse of existence without the need to define it. In this profound quiet, the cartographer begins to perceive connections that had been hidden in the act of active mapping. A gesture in one reality mirrors a gesture elsewhere, separated by folds of time and space, yet flowing in perfect synchrony. A melody hummed softly in a distant forest resonates with the laughter of children in another, creating a delicate harmony that drifts gently across dimensions. The cartographer listens, allowing the quill to hover over these patterns, tracing faint, invisible lines that capture the subtle interplay of lives and moments. Each mark becomes a reflection of presence, a soft acknowledgement of the continuous flow of the multiverse. Even the air feels alive in these moments. It carries faint echoes of conversations that never concluded, whispers of decisions both taken and left behind, and the gentle sighs of worlds existing perfectly in balance. The cartographer breathes slowly, in time with these rhythms, feeling the soft alignment of being with the endless flow of existence. Every heartbeat becomes a meditation, every exhale a quiet acknowledgement that the maps, the quill, and even their own consciousness are part of the gentle, infinite dance of life and possibility. In this state of quiet attunement, the cartographer begins to notice patterns that are not bound by space or time. A tree swaying in one fold reflects the motion of a tree elsewhere. A river's curve mirrors another across distant folds, and the movements of creatures appear in subtle resonance with those of companions in entirely separate realities. The cartographer's hand hovers lightly above the map, tracing these delicate correspondences with soft, mindful strokes. Each line becomes a meditation on connection, a lullaby for the quiet harmonies that underlie existence, a gentle recognition of the infinite threads that link one world to another without ever forcing them to collide. Time itself feels different here, flowing not linearly but in gentle waves that lap softly against the edges of consciousness. Moments stretch and fold, allowing the cartographer to witness the soft unfolding of lives from multiple perspectives simultaneously. A hero pauses mid-step, a companion smiles across realities, a bird takes flight in one world, while its shadow drifts silently in another. The cartographer observes with serene patience, letting the quill follow these subtle currents without imposing order or expectation. Each trace is a soft acknowledgement that existence, in its quietest and most profound form, is a continuous, living rhythm. There is a gentle intimacy in this rest. The cartographer feels the weight and warmth of countless lives brushing softly against one another, the echo of choices weaving through realities, and the faint glimmer of unspoken possibilities lingering in the quiet spaces between worlds. The quill rests lightly on the map, guided not by urgency but by attunement, capturing the delicate resonance of being without forcing form or structure. Every mark becomes a meditation, every line a soft celebration of continuity, every page a lullaby for the quiet, endless song of the multiverse. Even the smallest gestures are acknowledged here. A leaf drifting across a corridor between worlds, a ripple in a pond that reflects countless skies, the shadow of a companion passing unnoticed. All are traced gently, honored as part of the vast, ongoing symphony of existence. The cartographer allows these subtle movements to flow through their consciousness, recording them with reverence and care. Each observation, however minor, contributes to a quiet understanding that the multiverse is alive, not in moments of action alone, but in the gentle persistence of life itself. As the cartographer lies back fully, maps spread around them like constellations. They begin to sense a profound harmony. All the worlds, all the choices, all the echoes of lives, both lived and unlived, interweave in a quiet, unending rhythm. There is no urgency, no pressure, only the soft, infinite unfolding of existence. The quill rests beside them, pages fluttering faintly as if breathing in time with the multiverse. In this space of quiet reflection, the cartographer realizes that their journey has led not to completion, but to understanding, attunement, and the gentle embrace of infinite possibility. And so, in the soft, eternal glow of the worlds they have traced, the cartographer rests, fully immersed in the quiet song of reality. Every echo, every shadow, every ripple is acknowledged, every world honored, every possibility gently preserved. The rest is not an ending, but a continuation, a lullaby for the infinite, a soft meditation upon the delicate, interconnected, and endlessly flowing harmony of all things. As the cartographer rests, the boundaries between worlds seem to soften even further. Time itself flows like a gentle stream, carrying the echoes of countless realities in a harmonious current. Each ripple in a distant river, each rustle of leaves in faraway forests, and each faint shadow of a figure across a folding corridor contributes to this quiet symphony. The cartographer senses it all, not as a burden of knowledge, but as a soothing rhythm, a lullaby whispered across the fabric of infinite existence. Every heartbeat, every soft exhale becomes part of this delicate, perpetual music. Light plays softly across the maps, shifting in response to the subtle motions of existence. Mountains rise and fall in gentle undulations, rivers curve in infinite loops, and forests bend in slow, spiraling patterns. The quill rests beside the cartographer, yet seems alive, as if attuned to the multiverse itself, capturing the faint shimmer of worlds without movement or sound. Even in stillness, the maps breathe quietly, reflecting the endless dance of choices, actions, and lives across dimensions. Each line traced earlier resonates softly, a permanent echo of the care and attention the cartographer has given to every fold of reality. In these final moments of rest, the cartographer notices the most delicate harmonies of all, the whispers of what could have been, the faint shadows of potential decision, the subtle resonance of moments that exist between worlds. A hero's unspoken words, a companion's quiet hesitation, a leaf that never fell in one reality yet drifts gently in another. All are part of the infinite song. The cartographer closes their eyes, letting these whispers wash over them, feeling the gentle ebb and flow of possibilities. They are not lost or unimportant. They are essential threads in the vast, interwoven tapestry of existence, each carrying its own soft significance. The cartographer senses a profound alignment with all that they have observed. Every world traced, every timeline explored, every shadow and echo acknowledged forms a gentle, unbroken chain. There is no need for endings, for conclusions, or for finality. The multiverse continues, endlessly, softly, and perfectly balanced. The cartographer, in their quiet rest, becomes part of this harmony. Their breath, their heartbeat, their awareness, all flow in sync with the gentle rhythm of existence. The maps lie before them as a mirror of this ongoing song, each page a testament to worlds alive, unfolding, and unending. Even as the cartographer rests fully, subtle movements continue around them. A river ripples faintly in one fold, A bird's shadow drifts across a sunlit glade in another. A distant village hums quietly with life. None of these moments need attention or intervention. They simply exist, soft and persistent. The cartographer allows them to be, observing not with the intent to map, but with the gentle understanding that to witness is itself a form of care. Every detail, no matter how small or fleeting, is a note in the quiet lullaby of the multiverse. The corridors between realities, once so full of subtle patterns and overlapping echoes, now feel like soft arms of comfort, embracing the cartographer in their quietude. Shadows of heroes, companions, and creatures glide silently along these folds, no longer demanding attention, but existing as gentle reminders of the ceaseless continuity of life. The cartographer lies among these whispers, allowing the resonance to envelop them fully, feeling the infinite interconnectedness of worlds and the delicate threads of choice that bind them all together. Even the passage of time itself seems to rest alongside the cartographer. Moments stretch and fold without urgency, breathing softly like a quiet wind through trees. Gestures that once needed tracing now drift freely, their significance preserved in the maps, their presence acknowledged without interference. The cartographer's consciousness is attuned, serene, aligned with the multiverse in its soft, unending rhythm. There is no hurry, no tension, no expectation, only the gentle, ceaseless pulse of existence, of being, of possibility, flowing quietly across infinite realities. The cartographer reflects upon the journey, understanding in a quiet, profound way that the act of mapping was never about mastery or control. It was about attunement, observation, and reverent acknowledgement. Every choice, every echo, every shadow, every shimmer has its place. Every life, every world, every fold of time is part of the continuous, infinite symphony that is the multiverse. And in this understanding, there is a deep, tranquil peace. The cartographer's rest is not pause or end, but full participation in the quiet, endless song of all that exists. As the final hours of wakefulness drift away, the cartographer closes their eyes fully, letting the gentle hum of the multiverse lull them into a soft, timeless sleep. The maps lie quietly around them, glowing faintly with the resonance of worlds traced and honored. The quill rests, the corridors shimmer faintly, and the soft pulse of life continues unbroken. All is calm, all is soft, all is endless. The cartographer dreams quietly, not of endings or beginnings, but of gentle continuity, soft echoes, and infinite possibility. Every shadow, every ripple, every light-filled fold of reality hums softly in their rest, a quiet meditation on existence itself. And as the multiverse continues, flowing gently through infinite folds, the cartographer rests fully, completely at peace, cradled by the subtle, ceaseless song of worlds that live, breathe, and resonate forever. As the cartographer lies surrounded by their maps, the gentle hum of the multiverse becomes almost tangible. Each fold of reality, each corridor between worlds, seems to breathe with its own quiet rhythm, a soft pulse that resonates through the cartographer's very being. Shadows of countless lives, decisions, and possibilities ripple softly across the pages, not demanding attention, but existing as gentle reminders of the vast tapestry they have traced. The quill rests beside them, still sensitive to the faintest vibrations, as if the act of observation has now transformed into a shared meditation between the cartographer and the infinite. In these final moments of wakefulness, the cartographer reflects on the subtle truths they have discovered. The spaces between realities are not voids to be filled or mysteries to be solved. They are living, breathing corridors of resonance. Every choice, every echo, every gesture contributes to the quiet harmony that threads through worlds. The cartographer's role has been not to control, but to witness, to honor, and to preserve these delicate connections. They have become a part of the multiverse's soft heartbeat, attuned to its continuous, endless rhythm. Light itself seems to soften around the cartographer. It filters gently through overlapping skies, reflecting off rivers that twist impossibly across folds of reality. Forests lean gracefully. Mountains rise and fall in subtle, harmonious arcs, and villages hum faintly with the presence of lives, both observed and imagined. Even time feels tender here, stretching and folding without pressure, allowing each moment to coexist quietly with the next. The cartographer feels this ebb and flow deeply, letting it wash over them, knowing that the multiverse continues in perfect, gentle equilibrium, whether they watch or not. Figures appear in the soft shadows of these corridors, ethereal and fleeting. Heroes, companions, creatures, they move without urgency, their motions slowed to a peaceful cadence. A princess pauses, her gaze soft and contemplative. A hero stretches, then freezes, caught between multiple realities. The cartographer observes without interference, allowing these presences to exist freely. Every gesture, every smile, every step is traced in thought, acknowledged in silence. They are echoes, not interruptions, and the cartographer recognizes their place as both observer and participant in this quiet resonance. Even the smallest details take on new significance. A leaf drifting across a corridor between dimensions, a ripple on a pond reflecting distant skies, the faint shadow of a companion in a faraway fold. All are threads in the infinite tapestry. The cartographer lets their mind dwell on these gentle moments, tracing their subtle interconnections without effort or urgency. Every detail is an essential note in the unending lullaby of the multiverse, a soft, resonant reminder that even the smallest act or whisper has meaning when observed with patience and reverence. Time continues to behave differently here. Moments fold and stretch, layering gently upon each other like soft waves of light and sound. Gestures echo backward and forward simultaneously. Conversations from multiple realities mingle like a delicate choir, and decisions both taken and unmade shimmer faintly in the air. The cartographer allows themselves to be part of this rhythm, feeling their breath, their heartbeat, and even the gentle weight of consciousness align with the subtle currents of existence. They are not separate from the multiverse. They are part of its quiet song, as much as any leaf, river, or shadow. The cartographer senses the vastness of all that they have witnessed, but instead of feeling overwhelmed, a profound serenity settles over them. All the worlds, all the choices, all the echoes of lives both lived and unlived exist in gentle equilibrium. There is no need for endings, no need for resolutions, no pressure to complete or define. Every observation, every map, every quiet note captured in ink is enough. The multiverse flows gently, endlessly, and beautifully, and the cartographer rests within this infinite harmony. The maps themselves seem to respond to this calm. Pages shimmer softly, curling slightly as if breathing, reflecting the continuous pulse of existence. Mountains, rivers, forests, and corridors trace themselves in subtle motion, as though the act of observation has imbued them with a quiet, gentle life. Shadows of figures drift in perfect resonance. Melodies from distant folds intertwine without clashing, and the corridors between realities glow faintly with the quiet luminescence of possibility. All is aligned, all is still, all is peaceful. In these last moments, the cartographer allows their consciousness to soften completely. They no longer observe with intent or trace with purpose. They simply rest. Every heartbeat, every breath, every flicker of awareness merges seamlessly with the multiverse's soft, unending rhythm. The secrets between realities, the echoes of lives, the folds of time, and the glimmers of worlds are all acknowledged, preserved, and cradled within the gentle, infinite song of existence. And so, lying among the maps, surrounded by the quiet pulse of countless realities, the cartographer drifts fully into rest. The corridors shimmer softly, the rivers ripple faintly, and the shadows of heroes and companions continue their gentle dance. The quill rests, the ink lies still, and the multiverse hums quietly, a lullaby for infinite possibilities. Every echo, every shadow, every ripple has been observed, honored, and preserved. The cartographer sleeps peacefully, not ending the journey, but becoming part of the continuous, unbroken song of all that exists. The maps glow faintly in the soft light of overlapping realities. The corridors breathe gently, and the multiverse continues in perfect, tranquil harmony. Good night.